Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dr. David Patrick Carey with Church of the Eternal Logos, and we got a Logos news stream today. Some interesting news over the weekend. Obviously, Muslims invading Spain. Not the first time that's happened. In fact, I'll be talking mostly about that today, and the fact that I'll be doing a stream on the Battle of Guadalete and 7/11, most notably referred to as the Gates of Toledo, as some of you guys might be familiar. So that's going to be Wednesday. But Anthony Fauci had a hearing before the Senate, pled the fifth, stuff like that. We'll do some Iran updates. But, I do got to appreciate the fact that we can do these Orthodox chant intros again. It's been a while. It took forever for Streamlabs to do an update that would work with Mac OS again. And, as I was telling people in the chat, just kind of let the ortho chants just clean your chakras. Just let them clean your chakras. I saw K-Ram said her chakras were aligning. I could immediately feel my Kundalini rising. Could you guys feel that? Do you guys feel that when you listen to the ortho beat chants? You can feel there's just something pulsating, right from the bottom of the spine all the way to the third eye. Caleb said his was going to explode if these chants went on any longer. So just out of love for my Christian brothers, I made sure to just go ahead and start the stream. But shout out to everyone who's tuning in. Oh, we got FDA is in the house. What's up, FDA? What's going on, brother? If you guys didn't know, he recently was just over on the West Coast in California, basically doing a surf trip. Now, we've gone over it before, but don't ask me about FDA's skimboarding skills. Unfortunately, I witnessed that in person. But from my understanding, his surfing skills are much, much better. Much, much better. So anyways, brother, I followed a lot of the stuff. I know you sent me a few things. It looked like you and the wife had a fantastic time in California. I know it's a sin, but I was mildly jealous. Yeah, he said my wife said to stay away from skimboards this time. Yeah, I bet. If you guys don't know, FDA actually he fractured his wrist last time I was with him, and we were at Laguna Beach. It was me, Dr. Michael Moeller, FDA. We had some adult beverages. We had a very, very nice time. And let's just say FDA got a little ahead of his skis, although there was a skimboard, and it got a little caught on the sand there. But my gosh, we had a fantastic, fantastic time. Hey, Jim Bob's in the chat. I'm jealous of people who have shoulders. Well, Jim Bob, I saw that and this is all joking, so anybody don't take what we say seriously. But I was with my wife, and all of a sudden I get a text message from Rachel Wilson telling me Jim Bob's showing old videos and calling you baby DPH. I'm think, what? I'm trying to find sources for Logos news stream tonight. And so I tune in, and lo and behold, there's Jim Bob trying to mog me. He's trying to mog me by showing old videos before I even had a beard. I mean, I swear, you think a guy's one of your better friends, and then all of a sudden It goes to their head and they start trying to mog you on stream. Yeah, Kristen says that was a baby face stream. I know. It's you know what's funny though? My beard, I grew a beard the first time we did Montanica or Montanica now, but that was with Jim Bob said DPH first videos from daycare. Yeah, exactly. Oh man. Hey, Jim Bob, we should actually do a stream making fun of astrotheology. Like we should do a stream together and I'll find clips of Maxwell and Michael Tsarian talking about how everything is, all religions are basically worships of Venus, Saturn, or the sun or the moon. I'd love to do that if you're down. But yeah, it's the first time I actually grew my facial hair out was I went to Montana to do the first Montanica. It was me, FDA, Jay Dyer, and um, Brother Augustine, Michael Witkoff. So, anyways, we all get there, and I had previously spent a week with Dr. Michael Moeller, my friend, in California, and I forgot to bring my electric shaver. So I hadn't shaved for like a week. I got to Montana and everybody said, "Oh man, are you trying to grow a beard? We've been waiting for you to grow a beard, man. You should grow a beard." And so I thought, well, I never got past the itchy phase. I always felt like facial hair was a bit itchy. So then I let it grow, and that was basically, when was the first one, FDA? That had to have been, I can't remember if it was June, July, August, September. It must have been August, I think. And ever since then, so from 2021 to 2026, for 5 years now, I've had the beard. It's not going anywhere. My wife would kill me if I cut it. Hey, shots fired, man. Bakken Pan Danibus says my beard. He says my beard game. I thought you were referring to mine. Well, I plan on doing a stream this week on tips on finding like your wife and stuff. Some of it's going to be on masculine aesthetics. I was speaking to some of the guys this past Sunday, so yesterday in fellowship, and I mentioned a one, hey, it wasn't about him specifically, but he was talking about some of the young guys feeling frustrated getting girls. And I was like, you don't have to have a beard when you're Orthodox to get a wife, especially if it looks like pubic hair. Like if it's real patchy and you only got like, just shave it, man. Just keep the clean cut. If you're a single man out there and you're trying to find an Orthodox wife, like play the game a little bit. You're going to have to be a little bit more self-aware of some of your presentation. So, if the hair's only growing underneath your chin and to your jawline, maybe consider cutting that. Do we have to bone smash? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You have to bone. How else are you going to get your Orthodox virgin bride? If you don't bone smash, how are they going to see how masculine your facial features are? FDA said I first started growing a beard in 2014. It was awful looking. You got a pretty sick beard now, though. I will give you that. Yeah. So mine is basically from 2021. I assume that was the first Montanica, right? FDA. It was 2021. Maybe it was either July or August 2021. So, yeah, I have not shaved my beard since then and don't plan on it. So, Kristen, fellow Hoosier, already got us started off today regarding the YouTube Super Chat goal. Threw in $5, says kicking off the goal. Thank you so much, sister. God bless you. Really, really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it. FDA says that's the adrenochrome that helps me grow a beard and makes it look. Oh, is that right? Interesting. I thought I saw some color coming back this year. I thought I saw less gray, more, kind of dark reddish, brownish color. That must be the adrenochrome. FDA, remember, weren't you signed up for Parambrosia, Peter Thiel's company where you take in blood from younger people, it helps rejuvenate your tissues. I thought I saw. Was that what you were shooting in your ass when we were in Montana? I forget. I can't remember. Was it was it steroids? Was it adrenochrome? Was it blood from some young man? This is some young border crosser. Oh gosh. Caleb Paisio says FDA's beard is on my level. Well, hey, your beard's not in your profile pic, so I really can't judge your beard. Oh, he Hackett, the shots fired, says FDA was shooting up estrogen. FDA goes to Switzerland twice a year to get the Keith Richards clinic. Oh, yeah. That's probably true. You know, what FDA doesn't actually tell you is that his body is that of a 40-year-old, but genetically he's actually like 87 years old. And it's really the miracles of modern science how he's able to do the things he does. It's really inspiring. You know, it's really not something to mock. It's inspirational. It makes me look forward to aging, and hopefully I can do everything that he's able to do. So, you know, FDA just continues to inspire. I don't know. He just can't help himself. You know, he just kind of has that aura, as the kids say. You know, he's got that aura. All right. So the key to life is to move and take care of your nutrition. Well, that's definitely a big part of it for sure. That's definitely a big part of it for sure. Adrenal maxing. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And he actually has a 3-month course. So if anybody's interested, just go over to Patristic Faith, look for adrenal maxing. And there's multiple modules. He shows you first how to scare the children so that the adrenochrome begins to flush into their blood and their skin becomes a little bit of a rosy red. And then he shows you the correct procedures in which you extract that and then inject it. So if anybody, in fact, there's a promo code, just put in COTEL CODAL. You'll get a promo code, a little bit of a discount for Patristic Faith's adrenal maxing course. Yeah, you did step into that one. You did step into that one. Oh, easy with the holier than thou. Kalia, don't joke about this. Why? Why are you the bearer of bad news? Yeah, of course they do it to children. You can still joke about it. Oh. Jim Bob was right. You're funny. Well, you see, Jim Bob knows me offline. So when we're a little offline, when we have adult beverages, we're able to, engage in things. I like to think I have a bit of a funny bone. I do like to think I have a bit of a funny bone. It maybe doesn't come out as much. It doesn't exude onto the screen during the live streams, but I do think when the boys get together, the boys like to laugh. We'll put it that way. Same thing with Andrew. Same thing with Jay. But especially with me and Jim Bob, we were just roasting each other. Same thing with FDA and Andrew. We want a drunk stream. How much DP? A drunk stream. Can't say I've ever been drunk on camera. I don't think I've really ever been intoxicated on a stream. Well, we just started our fast, so maybe when the fast, we finish the Dormition fast. Maybe we should have an adult beverage stream and we'll just drink. Yeah. $500. $500. I'll do a drinking stream and we'll just watch stuff online. Sponsor a rice stream. There you go. All right. Okay, guys. So we got a lot to get into today. I have so many things to cover regarding Spain. Hey, major thank you to Ben gifted a Kotal Crew membership. Thank you so much, brother. Really appreciate that support. If anybody else is feeling generous, please gift some Kotal Crew memberships. The chat appreciates it. I appreciate it. Please do that if you would like. My brother from another mother, Matt Scroggins, member of the Logos Academy, by the way, probably wandering around the U.S. right now, says, world is going crazy. That is a fact. Matt Scroggins, my friend, Logos Academy member, throws in 15 on Dono Chat, says huge parts of Idaho have wildfires everywhere right now. It was smoky haze the whole time I was driving through there yesterday. Wow. Yeah, and I saw that there was an arsonist in California. It turned out to be a global climate change activist. For some reason, no one could imagine, but was caught catching trees on fire in Southern California. Now, why would a global climate activist do something like that? Unless that's the whole point, is to cause mass wildfires and blame it on global warming. But we're not conspiracy theorists on this YouTube channel. The official narrative is always correct. So as the AI transcripts this audio right now, whatever the official narrative is, you can bet your bottom dollar we support it. You can bet your bottom dollar. All right. So obviously we're going to be getting into, hey, Robert Haga. I know that guy. He's also not a Kotal Crew, a Logos Academy member. Shout out to Robert, man. Hope you're doing well, man. He's probably traveling right now, too. He's always traveling during the week. But God bless you, brother. Thanks for becoming a Kotal Crew member. Really appreciate it. So as we'll get into, the big story, and most people have already talked about it, but there isn't a lot of great coverage on the Muslim invasion of Spain. Now, we're going to follow up today's conversation Wednesday evening with a stream on, again, I'm going to title it The Muslim Conquest of Spain. The request was the Gates of Toledo. And I'm going to definitely have a whole section there in the Gates of Toledo. But you can't even talk about that with first understanding the split in Islam, how the Umayyad Caliphate ends up taking over North Africa. And you can't understand it without understanding how the Visigoths went and took over the Iberian Peninsula, which then leads to the event we know as the Gates of Toledo. So we're going to be covering all that stuff Wednesday. But just looking, over the weekend, we saw somewhere in the ballpark of 60,000 migrants enter Spain from Morocco. And the immediate question is, how were they organized? How the heck did they get there? And I think what I'm going to be presenting today is probably the majority of opinion of most of you guys as well, that there are some wonderful oases in the Middle East, bastions of democracy that seem to have a bit of an animosity towards Spain, especially after recent events regarding the war with Iran. And it's not just the bastion of democracy in the Middle East, it's Trump himself. Pedro Sanchez, who we certainly are no fans of, he's the current prime minister of Spain, is a socialist leftist, really, really liberal on social policies. I mean, so and his government just allowed for the legalization of, I forget how many illegals, somewhere in the ballpark of 500,000 to 1 million in Spain. So a very, very large swath, just granting them amnesty and legal status. So there's this new law that they put forth that said, basically, if you've arrived in Spain by boat, you can seek refuge there. So you have two things going on. One, you have the liberal government in Spain, not exactly a nationalist right-wing party that's strict on border patrol. And then you have two global powers, the U.S. and Israel, who are a little upset with Spain and the fact that Spain was refusing the U.S. to utilize some of their ports for their war against Iran. And then they recently shut off all the ports to Israel. And so the thing that nobody's talking about, and we're going to be discussing it later, is why, let's say, Israel would be in support of Moroccans and North Africans flooding into Spain. And everybody's highlighting that Ceuta, the territory that was essentially invaded, is right next to Morocco. Oh, well, it should be Moroccan. Well, do you even know when Morocco gained its independence? It was like 300 years ago. When was it? Spain has had Ceuta longer than Morocco's even been an independent nation. When did Morocco gain independence? Let's see here. Oh, no, it's not even from that. They gained independence from France in 1956. 1956. So Spain took it from the Portuguese in like the mid 1400s. I mean, it was officially, or the Portuguese took it in like early 1400s. The Reconquista ends in 1492, right? So if you're talking about Spain, Catholic Spain taking back the Iberian Peninsula, that essentially ends with Granada and the Caliphate surrendering there. That's like 1492. I think it's early 1500s. When did Ceuta become part of Spain? I know Spain took it from the Portuguese. So anyways, my whole point, 1580. So Spain has had that territory since 1580. Morocco hasn't even been an independent nation since 1956. And we're supposed to believe, because the Trump administration, as some of what I'll show you today, is the Trump administration has already voiced support claiming that it's Moroccan territory. Now, the interesting thing, and this is all going to come later in the stream, Netanyahu put out a video when Pedro Sanchez voiced criticism of Israel. And then everybody's like, oh, Spain. Okay, but they're socialists. They're leftist socialists. Same thing that's happening in America. Notice all these Democrat socialists that are getting elected, and they're critical of Israel, rightfully so. And they get elected, but they're leftists. And you see people on the right like celebrate it, like somehow this is fantastic news. Okay, guys, like multiple things can be true. I know this audience is high IQ. My audience is high IQ, so where do you get it? Two things can be true at once. It can also be true that criticism of Israel is necessary. It can also be true that Muslims are bad. And it can also be true that leftist socialist candidates who voice criticism of Israel are not good or on our side. So not real hard to comprehend, but it seems to be. So there's all this support for Pedro Sanchez because he called out Netanyahu, claimed he was a war criminal, things that the international court has already voiced. And Netanyahu put out this sort of mysterious video claiming that there will be immediate revenge on Spain. Interesting. Well, that happened in April of this year. Guess what also happened in April of this year? Apparently, what we now know is that the U.S. government, right now, you have a choice. The U.S. government decided that Ceuta and was it Melilla, the other Spanish territory next to Morocco, that they are now recognized as Moroccan. Meanwhile, since 2020, this is a little interesting tidbit as well. Since 2020, Morocco has had one of the closest relationships with Israel. And Morocco claims, especially since October 7th, that has to do with, Hamas, Palestine. You guys get it. We've talked about it, that they were being threatened by Iranian proxies. So in the war against Iran, Morocco and Israel seem to actually be on the same side of things, which makes it very interesting. Israel threatens Spain. Spain threatens Israel. Spain then declares that the U.S. can't use their ports and bases. Trump threatens Spain. And then Morocco fled 60,000 people into Spain in one day. And Mossad, let me show you this. We'll get into all this stuff later, but let me show you this. It's over here somewhere. We'll get into all the details here. I just want to show you something before we do. Right here. Here it is. Now, I reposted this on X for anybody who hadn't seen this. This is Mossad International. This is the official Mossad X handle. Guess what? It actually got suspended. It legitimately got suspended. So I go over here on go to my X account. By the way, guys, you should be following me. I have a new X account. You can actually find it now. If you go to my profile, you can actually find this. All the other ones are hidden. Why don't I just give myself a like there since we're live? You go down here. I reshared the Mossad message, and you'll see, unless it's been taken down, where'd it go? Here it is. This post is from a suspended account. Mossad got suspended on X. Should you not? Mossad got suspended on X for this. The fall of Spain has begun. We never forget. We never forgive. Interesting. Interesting thing to say. Very interesting thing to say. So I reposted that post, and Mossad is now suspended. They are no longer there. But again, guys, go follow me on X. The link is in the video description. It's at Dr. DP Harry, at Dr. DP Harry. And we're going to get out of this. Basically, everything from here to here is all Israel related to Spain and Morocco stuff. So we have tons and tons to get into today. So why don't we just start here with Anthony Fauci, everyone's favorite doctor? You know, he is the science. You guys know that, right? And I know FDA mentioned that we may do a stream, myself, FDA, and Dyer, talking a little bit more about the Fauci ouchies and everything that happened in COVID. Because here's one of the sad things, is that nothing has come. You know, Fauci basically pleaded the fifth. Nothing happened. He was given total pardons. Now, people are questioning whether they can challenge his full pardonship, but it's still debated. Now, am I going to hold my breath? Absolutely not. Because if there's anything we know about modern America, it's that those who are most guilty are never held accountable. Now, they will come to you. The IRS will kick in your door for taxes, you know, just a few $100s in taxes they claim that you owe them. But when it comes to, you know, the fake doctor behind the AIDS epidemic, who was actually killing AIDS patients and running experiments on homosexuals because they figured they were sort of the dregs of society. No one would care what, you know, the NIH and everything else was doing to them. That same doctor who did all that during the 80s and then was promoted, that same doctor who then was funding gain of function research, who was directly connected to the Wuhan lab in China, that doctor who then advocated for mass lockdowns, that doctor who also then told us to wear little pieces of cloth over our face so that the virus wouldn't get us, so we could stop the spread. We got to stop the spread, guys. You got to put on your face diaper so we can stop the spread. Dr. Fauci told me. He told me it would stop the spread. So he was not going to be held accountable for anything. Now, what the interesting thing is the fact that he pled the fifth in front of the Senate insinuates that even though he's been granted a pardon, he is worried that there's additional evidence that might be found. So we don't know what that is. Yes. Stop the spread. Stop the spread, guys. Get your Fauci outie. Put on your face nappy. We got to stop the spread. First, he said, wear a mask. Then he said, masks probably don't help anything. Then he said, wear 2 masks. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, he's the science. Kristen. And obviously, unless you're some bigoted science denier, I don't think you're going to question Dr. Anthony Fauci. Really? Have you seen his resume? Really? I can't believe you would question him. Yeah, of course it was a total biological weapon. COVID was multiple things. COVID was a psychological operation. COVID was a test for compliancy. COVID was a weapon to kill people, especially older people. You know, the whole point of locking down the kids is not that the kids were going to get sick. The virus was designed in a lab, and the purpose was not for kids to die. The purpose was for old people to die. It was to kill the boomers, right? COVID was the biggest transfer of wealth in human history. Bailing out the pharmaceutical company. I mean, look how much Pfizer and Johnson and Johnson and all these different companies made during COVID. So anyways, it wasn't just a biological weapon, which it was more than that. And it was designed to kill certain groups of people, right? Certain ethnic, racial groups were affected more than others, interestingly enough. And nobody's going to be held accountable for any of that. Think of all the people that lost jobs. Think of all the people, I remember friends who had parents. In fact, I don't even know if Technicore Graphics is in the chat. You've probably seen him. His father was in the hospital during COVID, and they wouldn't even let him go see him. And he ended up passing away. Like traumatic things. The point for the kids was not that they were going to die. The point was to traumatize the kids so they'd be easier to program through mind control. And look at it. In some ways it backfired. We see Gen Z becoming more conservative. But look at the Gen Z girls. They're becoming more and more liberal. So I think everybody coming out of COVID, it was a mass psychological operation, mass psychosis formation. That was Dr. Robert Malone. I read an article during COVID. I just read an article of Dr. Robert Malone, who was one of the inventors of the mRNA platform, which the COVID vaccine was built upon. And he talked about mass formation psychosis. I read an article about it. YouTube took it down, said I violated guidelines, and shut down my YouTube. I couldn't stream for, I think, a week is your first strike, something like that. And I didn't even use the word COVID in it. It was because I read Dr. Robert. That's how strict the censors were back then. So anyways, what we now have is that Anthony Fauci, who, as I said, can't even be charged with all these different serious crimes that he should be, took the stand Thursday and Friday, and had nothing to say. But anyway, Mark Dice, I don't know if you guys still follow Mark Dice. He's been kind of limited. He kind of, YouTube put him in a bit of a limited hangout. He's been just shy of 2 million subscribers for like how many years now? Like legitimately. I feel like Mark Dice, he always says in his videos, like, subscribe to my YouTube channel because YouTube won't promote it. I genuinely, hadn't he been like just shy of 2,000 or 2 million subscribers for like 8 years or something? I feel like it's been since 2020. So anyways, he still has some pretty good stuff. So we're going to check out his video here on Anthony Fauci. Are you guys able to hear that? Let me make sure that the audio is working. Double check. Okay.
Or any congressional oversight committee, I have nothing to hide. I can explain and validate everything that I've done.
A few moments later.
What day of the week is it today?
I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color's the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment.
That was the infamous Mr. Fauci on Capitol Hill yesterday after getting a subpoena.
I love that. John, what color's the carpet in front of you? What color's the carpet? I'm not talking about Mrs. Fauci. Can you give me that, Dr. Fauci? What color is the carpet?
To testify about his numerous lies about the pandemic, mask mandates, lockdowns, the origin of the virus, the safety of the vaccine, the whole thing. And he evoked his Fifth Amendment right over 100 times, as you could see, literally refusing even to answer what day of the week it was. Of course, the liberal media is framing this as if the Republicans were bullying this poor old man. But what they don't want people to know is he actually waived his Fifth Amendment right when he received his pardon from President Biden. I'm sorry, his pardon from President Biden's staff, who signed it with the auto pen and then later told old Joe that they gave Dr. Fauci a pardon for any and all crimes that he had committed over a 10-year period. And when you receive a pardon like that, then you can't evoke your Fifth Amendment privilege. You're in contempt of court because you can speak freely now because you cannot and will not be charged for any of those crimes that you committed. So in this unique case, he actually committed a crime, sitting there refusing to answer the questions. CNN reported that the hearing was nothing more than an assault on science.
Public service and public servants should be respected. Everyone who was in that hearing and meeting room. But what's happened is this is an assault on science and scientists. And unfortunately,
any attack on Anthony Fauci is an attack on science. And you are not going against the dogma of science, are you? You will be excommunicated from secular society. I hope you're not going to war against the science. You know, the science of little masks on your face and the science of mRNA that changes your DNA and causes all myocarditis and all these different genetic problems and immediate death for athletes around the world. Do not question the science.
Dr. Fauci is in that seat. 38 years of service to the country, one of the best known scientists for infectious disease, unfortunately, has taken a lot of heat for probably a lot of, shall we say, issues that were not fully his. He didn't make all the decisions that drove the COVID pandemic, but you are right that he is one of the most respected scientists.
He was.
And should be respected in that same sort of way.
No.
Today, we certainly didn't learn anything from the way the hearing was held.
And notice again, all rational people, all people that have, let's say IQ above room temperature, saw Anthony Fauci, saw what the CDC, saw what RFK Jr.'s released and realizes, oh yeah, I guess we were lied to about the COVID vax. Yeah, seems to be the case. And then watch how the mainstream media, and really they only did it during the day of the conversation. They dropped the story, the coverage of Fauci immediately. But nobody recanted. Nobody said, you know what, I was actually wrong. I thought I was believing the science, and I believed in the institutions, and I got my, 14,000 boosters, and I wore my face diapers, and I stayed 6 feet away from my kids for 4 years. And you know what? I think I might have been wrong. Nobody's been able to do that.
So we're supposed to respect him. Still.
First of all, I didn't recommend locking anything down.
And the record will show, Neil, that we didn't recommend shutting everything down.
I recommended to the president that we shut the country down. And that was a very difficult decision because I knew it would have serious economic consequences, which it did.
Actually, sir,
that is one of our finest scientists in America, Tony Fauci. I never told him to lock it. No, we actually have video. It's amazing how bold these people are regarding their lies. Like, whether you like it or not, we live in the social media era. Whether you like it or not, we're in the information age. Everything is documented. Every tweet you post, every interview you've been on, somebody has it documented, and they still just bold-faced lies. It's really psychopathic. It's really psychopathic how these people can lie ruthlessly.
The American people wanted answers to your lies like this.
Let's start at the beginning. On March 8th, 2020, you appeared on 60 Minutes to discuss the spread of COVID-19. You were specifically asked to clear up the confusion and misinformation surrounding masks. You told the American people, right now in the United States, people should not be walking around with a mask. The interviewer immediately stopped you and said, are you sure of it? Because people are listening really closely to this. And instead of walking back or qualifying your statement in any way, you doubled down. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little better. It might even block a droplet, but it's not providing the perfect protection that people think it is. And often there are unintended consequences. People keep fiddling with their masks. They keep touching their face. Just a few weeks later, the CDC released its guidance recommending that Americans wear masks in public. You were asked to explain your original recommendation. You emphasized a very different consideration. You said, well, back then, the critical issue was to save the masks for the people who really needed them because it was felt there was a shortage of masks. So I want everybody to sit with that. The critical issue driving your initial recommendation to the American public was scarcity, logistics, not medical evidence. So when you told the American people there was no reason to wear a mask, what was your principal objective? Giving them an honest assessment?
Caleb said he looks like he drives a Mazda MX-5 Miata. No, he looks like he drives one of those smart cars. You know, those little tiny European cars that whenever you see one in America, you're like, oh my God, that person's a flamboyant liberal. Or any man, if you've ever seen a man in a Volkswagen Bug. Now, if it's from the 60s and you've restored a Bug, that's cool. If it's like a 2020 yellow Volkswagen Bug and you're a man driving it, you're homosexual. Whether you've come out or not, you are. Why are you gay? You drive a yellow Bug. Chief Wahoo says Fauci is pleading the fifth because he cannot help but lie. And if he does it to Congress, now he is not going to get a pardon. Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think that's part of it is that he literally cannot answer any questions because anything he says could end up being incriminating one way, whether it's going to lie previous testimony or contradict previous testimony, demonstrate a lie, or say something that just isn't true. And Congress, the Senate, is able to investigate and find that being false. Potentially that would undermine his pardon as well. So exactly. That's why he has to do the whole rigmarole of pleading the fifth, but it just makes him look more and more guilty. Right. And then I don't know if you guys saw part of his diary was leaked. Did you guys see the diary stuff? I saw just a little bit of it, but I mean, imagine this. Tony Fauci's like what, 4 foot tall. So he's got Napoleon syndrome. He's got a Napoleon complex. And in his own diary, he's writing to himself about how happy he is that he's one of the most famous men in the United States because of during COVID. Now, I don't know what type of narcissist or retard you have to be, but to write about yourself to yourself in your own diary, really? Really? That's hilarious. That is hilarious. He got a blood clot from the Moderna shot. Did he even take? I don't even believe that he took the Moderna shots. I don't believe he took the shots at all. Napoleon was average. I know, but everybody knows what Napoleon complex is. And yeah. But I mean, to write in your diary to yourself, about how famous you feel like you are, that's hilarious. Oh, it's in the diary. I didn't read all of it. That is such poetic justice. There is no way. So our criminals, it's not even like a good Batman movie. You know, we're like the criminal, the villain is some like evil genius and is able to do. Our evil geniuses create a virus and then take death shots on themselves and get blood clots to not get the virus that they created. I mean, these people are so dumb. It's crazy. It's crazy. Hey, major thank you to Thee We Sing. To Thee We Sing gifted 5 Kotal Crew memberships. Shout out to Jumbo Playset, Shannon, Mithronder, Bakken, and Jake Becker. And Rich, welcome to the, oh no, Jake Becker, welcome to the Kotal Crew. God bless you. To Thee We Sing. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. And it looks like K-Ram threw in 5 over on the Streamlabs. Thank you so much, K-Ram. She just says, donated $5, says, God bless everyone. Well, thank you so much, K-Ram, for the support. Really appreciate that. God bless you, sister. So anyways, the Fauci diary stuff is just insane. It's absolutely asinine. I'm skeptical. Maybe it is an act. I'm skeptical that he's that dumb. He's that dumb that he took an experimental shot for a virus that he helped create and then got blood clots. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he is that dumb, but I don't know. I almost feel like we need better villains so that we can get better heroes, because our heroes are about as good as our villains. Anyways, we'll get back to the video.
Of the medical evidence or discouraging them from consuming a scarce supply of masks?
A very good question. Of course, we know his answer.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
This is the interview that she's talking about. If you're subscribed to my YouTube channel back then you've seen it a dozen times throughout the pandemic. But since we're going down the COVID memory lane, here it is again.
Right now in the United States, people should not be walking around with masks.
You're sure of it? Because people are listening really closely to this.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and it might even block a droplet.
If you're like coughing or sneezing on someone, yeah.
But it's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is.
And then remember his brilliant solution once Joe Biden became the president in early 2021, when he was going to fix the entire mess that they blamed on President Trump for the lockdowns, the economy, and the pandemic itself, was the brilliant idea of wearing not one mask now, but 2.
It's time to double up and wear 2. This morning, Dr. Fauci endorsed the idea on the Today Show.
If you have a physical covering with one layer, you put another layer on, it just makes common sense that it likely would be more effective.
More effective, especially with one new variant spreading much more easily. CBC's Contessa Brewer with us now to break down the science behind double masking and what we're all supposed to do.
The brilliant innovation of double masking, which took them almost...
Guys, we got double mask. Your mouth poopies, one mask may not stop your mouth poopies. And so to stop all the mouth poopies, you need to wear 2 masks. Dr. Fauci told us wear 2 masks. He said no mask, don't wear no mask. Then he said wear a mask, and now he says wear 2 masks because the mouth poopies may make someone sick.
Almost a year to discover. Thank God they shut down those skate parks at the beach, because who knows how much longer the pandemic would have gone on if the kids were allowed to play outside. Remember this? But hey, at least those who lined up for the vaccine got some free French fries.
Free fries when you get vaccinated? I got vaccinated. You're saying I could get this? These delicious fries?
Remember the mayor of New York, de Blasio? Oh, he's basically a communist. You mean if you get the experimental jab, you can get delicious fries as well? Like who saw that and was like, you know what? I need to go get the jab. You're actually right. You're actually right, de Blasio. I need to go get the jab.
Wait a minute. But there's also a burger element to this?
We're going to have to tell the future generations that this is not a deep fake, that this is not some kind of a parody.
This was not
by
AI.
This is a real video of the mayor of New York City promoting the vaccine.
Trump said he was going to fire Dr. Fauci. Isn't that wonderful? I got a better idea.
Come on,
Elect
man.
me and I'm going to hire Dr. Fauci. By now, Dr. Fauci needs no introduction. Dr. Fauci is trusted, a truth teller, a patriot. So my message to you is this. Listen to Dr. Fauci, one of the most distinguished and trusted voices in the world.
Yes, and you should also trust the main.
Come on, man. You need to listen to Dr. Fauci. He killed more gay people in the 80s than anyone. He's the most respected doctor.
Mainstream media who called it a baseless conspiracy theory that the coronavirus leaked from the lab in China, even though, oh, by the way, that was one of the entries in Dr. Fauci's private journal in his diary. And then he went on air the very next day and told the general public this.
We don't know exactly what that animal was, but some animal, probably in a wet market, where they bring in a variety of different types of wild game, and people sacrifice them, particularly around holidays like the Lunar New Year. It is totally not surprising that you're seeing the facilitation of this jump from the animal species to the human.
Of course, today it's common sense that the virus, which was being manipulated in the Wuhan lab, leaked out. Now they say supposedly it was a big accident, of course. But you couldn't even ask questions about that. Remember, on social media, on Facebook, on YouTube, they would literally take those posts and those videos down until the summer of 2021 when everybody realized the obvious. And really, thanks to Jon Stewart, who made that point on the Stephen Colbert show, shocking Stephen Colbert, just putting 2 and 2 together. And that then made it safe, you may recall, to finally talk about it on social media.
What do you mean by that? Do you mean like perhaps there's a chance that this was created in a lab? There's an investigation.
A chance?
Well,
oh my
if there was
God.
evidence, I'd love to hear it.
There's a novel respiratory coronavirus overtaking Wuhan, China. What do we do? Oh, you know who we could ask? The Wuhan Novel Respiratory Coronavirus Lab. The disease is the same name as the lab. That's just a little too weird, don't you think? And then they ask the scientists, they're like, how did this, so wait a minute, you work at the Wuhan Respiratory Coronavirus Lab. How did this happen? And they're like, a pangolin kissed a turtle. And you're like, no, the name of your lab. If you look at the name.
One that it's not about much more your regrets, but I have one. And that is early on that there was the theory that the virus could.
Gosh, Fetterman's so retarded. It's hard to even listen to him speak. It's like, come on, Junior, spit it out, boy. What do you, I don't have much, but there is one thing I'd have to say, and that was, come on, Junior, spit it out. Cody Mills throws in 5. Hey, fellow Logos Academy member, shout out to you and the family, brother. Hope you're doing well. He says, have you ever done a stream on the miracle of the Holy Fire? I have. Just search Church of the Eternal Logos Holy Fire. I have a whole stream on the uncreated fire, and there's a whole section there on the Holy Fire in Jerusalem during Pascha. But thank you so much, brother, for the support. Really appreciate that.
Could have emerged from the lab. And early on, that became like a right-wing kinds of theory. And I thought it seemed to make sense. Now, there was a really advanced lab that was close by. And then you have this unknown.
I know he had a stroke, and then his wife left him. Poor guy. I mean, he's been through a lot. But, I mean, come on. Just because he had a stroke, we don't have to pretend like he's the smartest man in Congress. And if he is impaired mentally, he shouldn't even be a senator. Okay, I think we can all agree on that.
Virus out. So, but that became a very partisan thing. And now it seems now it's more and more emerging theory that would have come from the lab. Now, you know, I think that the next time our nation's facing something like this, we are not become, as I might have been, blinded by the partisan idea that maybe the truth might come from a side that's different than you are. But I think we should really be willing to pursue truth, no matter where that may have emerged, for all of that.
Hey, Kalia, where are you from? Kalia's got a lot to say about Americans, talking and interacting with Americans in the chat. I'm an American, exposing all this stuff, which she seemingly agrees with. And I am very open about all the problems with America, but I'm curious, what nation are you from that is not dealing with all these problems? I'm curious. Someone in the chat, where is Kalila from? What country? I want to know where this country of super based right-wing people not falling into the globalist goy slop. Where is that? I'd love to find that. Yeah. Come on, tell us this utopia that you live in, where everyone's based and knows what's going on. Of course you should be in federal jail. That's what we're talking about. I want to know where you're from. I want to know where you're from, because you got a lot to say about Americans. I'm just curious. Oh, she's Romanian. Okay. Well, all the Romanians I've met were pretty good people, but come on, Romania is one of the most corrupt places in the world. She lives in Morocco. I would believe Romanian. I don't know. But again, Romania, I mean, you guys house like one of the largest NATO bases in Europe. So, Romania, didn't you guys have a fake election? Didn't you guys elect a guy? Yeah, what was the percentage of Romanians getting the jab? I'm very curious. How many Romanians stood up to the jab? Anyways.
So, and I now cede the remain back to the chair. Thank you.
There was a mom in Ohio during the depth of the coronavirus pandemic, decided to go to her high school football game for her son. They sat alone, far from everybody else, just a mom, a dad, a few kids. They didn't feel they needed to wear masks because it was stupid.
Okay, send me the link. I'd be very curious, because from what I've read, the U.S. non-vax stat was around 30% of the U.S., which, given a country of 350 million, is probably more than most European nations. I'd be very, very curious.
Because they're outside, they all live together, they're not near anybody. Those policies were put in place because you had moronic politicians that listened to the words of a megalomaniac who was more interested in having met a Kardashian than the suffering of the American people. And that is you. Your advice to communities like that, to idiotic politicians who enforce those rules, arrested that mom for watching a football game with her own family outside. When that story broke, I said to myself, I cannot stand idly on the side and watch this happen. It was about 6 years ago today that I decided I'm going to give up my businesses, sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the do you think you were for doing that? It is a total disgrace what you did to this country. And if my Democrat colleagues are standing there defending you, I hope the voters of the United States of America watch the clips of every one of you doting on a guy who was more interested in being a celebrity than saving American people.
This hearing is bringing back a lot of memories that I'm sure we're all having that are indistinguishable from nightmares.
Dr. Fauci, give us vaccines. Help all the people who have been quarantined. We'll wear our masks and we'll have to stay distant. We'll wash our hands and we'll be more resistant.
Trust in everything you tell me, Dr. Fauci.
No lockdowns anymore. We can finally walk out the door. The sunlight is a fantasy. It still doesn't feel real to me.
It's so cringe. It's so cringe. It was cringe when all this happened, but looking at it now, yeah, that banger was a worldwide hit. My gosh. Yeah, my neck broke from the amount of cringe. Good Lord. Dr. Fauci. I almost have to just go back. I just want to see it.
Yes.
Dr. Fauci, give us vaccines. Help all the people who have been quarantined. We'll wear our masks and we'll have to stay distant. We'll wash our hands and we'll be more resistant.
Oh my God.
Looking back, that was a really tough and messed up time. I'm surprised that we actually survived as a society, as a country, as a species. But thankfully, the celebrities were there to help the mentally enslaved masses make it through.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try.
No hell below us.
Above us only sky.
Imagine all these celebtards hopping on a group chat or on a Zoom call and saying that they've come up with a great idea to help cheer up the American people by putting together whatever the hell you would call this. Real men own up to their mistakes, and of course, nobody's perfect. And in the world of medicine, it's a very complicated field filled with unknowns. And if Dr. Fauci was a real man of integrity, as the usual suspects built him up to be, or to try to portray him as, then he actually would have sat down and testified even.
Hey, Kalia, it's you're really on a tear today. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Oh my gosh. And who controls Romania? Do the people control Romania, Kalia? Or are you guys also a globalist puppet just like we are? Like, stop. Stop. You're showing your geopolitical ignorance. Did you or did you guys not just elect a nationalist that then got arrested by the EU? Come on. Romania's not corrupt. Yeah, exactly. What did they do to Georgescu? I mean, just chill. Like I read the prophecies. You do realize Romania is way freer than you. Have you been to America? Do you have any idea what you're talking about? You know, somebody might need to take the box wine away from Kalia. Somebody take the box wine away from her. She needs some milk. You know, I have been to Europe. I've been to multiple places, been to China, been through Europe. A lot of problems with America. We talk about Sodom and Gomorrah, LA and New York. We talked about there's a very big difference between American like culture and the people and the government. Freedom. That's right.
without a pardon in order to try to help to correct and prevent some of the mistakes that were made so that if we have a terrible pandemic again, we don't have the same problems, the same kinds of disasters, the same kinds of absolute stupidity that actually made things worse. But we're living in a world where liberals not only
So
in line,
anyways, that's a little bit I got for you guys regarding Anthony Fauci. You know, there's not a whole lot to say. I have another quick story, and we're going to spend the rest of the stream just focusing on Spain. Okay. You watch the streams of an American, but then make fun of all Americans. Sorry. See ya, Kalia. See ya. So anyways, I don't know if you guys been following something that was kind of funny that's happening the last couple days in the WNBA. God forbid any of you watch the WNBA. I hope you don't, just for your own sanity. But there was, so everybody's familiar with this woman right here, Sophie Cunningham. She's like a conservative Trump supporter. Again, we get it. MAGA, Zionism, we get all that stuff. Okay. She's not like super red pill or anything, but recently she just made a comment about how she's against men playing in female sports. Okay. Makes sense. She's in the WNBA. Well, this because she is white, blonde, and fairly attractive. The animosity towards Caitlin Clark, you know, the basketball phenom from Iowa, has been redirected entirely towards this woman who's her teammate. And she plays for here in Indianapolis, the Indiana Fever. And she spoke out against trans athletes being in women's sports. Fair enough. And she's being labeled as the new voice of like white supremacy and all this different stuff. And you can see one of the coaches she played against, the Minnesota Lynx. So there was these two girls that I think this was in Atlanta. They were probably, I think 14, 15 years old. And they wore t-shirts that said XXXY and had a sign that says, "Thank you, Sophie Cunningham, for standing up for girls." The Atlanta, I don't even know what it's Atlanta Dream or something, whatever their WNBA team is. I believe it was Atlanta. I could have been wrong. They kicked the girls out of the game. 14, 15-year-old girls who were supporting Sophie Cunningham because she was outspoken against transgenderism. And then the next game, you get the head coach of the Minnesota Lynx wearing a shirt that says "Trans kids belong." Trans kids belong. And this like just led to all these people upset. You can see basketball's new anti-trans MAGA poster girl. And ESPN was eating this up last night. Listen to this.
We see Cheryl Reed wearing a shirt today in support of trans kids. Trans kids belong on the shirt. This in the aftermath of Sophie Cunningham's recent comments. We actually saw Cheryl and Sophie speaking at center court pregame.
And this was before the game. Apparently, the Karen head coach of whatever the Minnesota Lynx, I don't even know what did it say, whatever the Minnesota team is. Again, don't watch women's basketball. I'd rather watch boys high school. Boys high school basketball is way more interesting than women's WNBA. But she had to confront Sophie Cunningham about her transphobia before the game started. So that's what they're highlighting here.
And yesterday, Cheryl Reed spent a lot of time talking at length with the media about this topic.
I would encourage anyone to go and listen to Cheryl Reeve's comments. Incredibly thoughtful, easy to find online.
And what's so funny about all this is not only is she basically grooming children, right? Promoting the idea of trans. I mean, what does that have to do with basketball? But the WNBA was basically built on Title IX of women getting their own place to play sports, which nobody cared to watch because it's terrible to watch. It's a low quality product. Then a white heterosexual Catholic girl becomes like super famous in college, joins Caitlin Clark, joins the WNBA. All of a sudden, the revenue spikes. They start making some money. All the players get pay raises. And now the biggest thing is to make sure that men can enter the WNBA. I swear, like, there needs to be an investigation on white liberal women. Like, I mean, I have videos. I didn't even have them in all these tabs because right now we're just in my bookmarks on X. And whether it be the UK, whether it be Germany, whether it even be Spain, every time there's these migrant crises, there's white liberal women out there to help them. It's their mother complex. Like, I want to know, is this woman even married? Let's see. Cheryl Reeve. Let's just see if she's a lesbian. Cheryl Reeve. Let's see. Personal life. Oh, yeah, she's a lesbian. She's in a relationship with Carly Knox. They have one child, Oliver. So here you go. So again, the WNBA is majority like black lesbian. So then you get a lesbian coach who's really upset with a heterosexual, attractive white woman with blonde hair being against transgenderism. Like, this is the state of the WNBA. But the only reason why I bring it up is because the memes have been hilarious. And so this was the one.
On Sports Center. That's not very ladylike, is it, bitch?
Me and the devil walking side by side. Me and the devil.
So, anyways, I thought that was hilarious. The WNBA, what a trash organization. Like, legitimately, what a total trash.
This is a crazy situation.
It's so pathetic. Yeah, it's a child trafficker, lesbo sports ball coach. I mean, I have nothing positive to say about the WNBA. Yeah, that's Holland from Norway. That's Black Holland. It's his brother from another mother. So, all right. Rest of the stream, what I want to talk to you guys about is Spain and everything that's going on, because there's so many different narratives regarding how they all got there, who's facilitating, who's funding them. I spent like an hour and a half trying to use ChatGPT to provide me the NGOs, any publicly known NGOs or corporations or private institutions or national institutions from various governments that help facilitate the mass migration. And you get basically nothing. It did give me a few Catholic NGOs, which is funny because it's something that me, Jay, and others have been very critical of regarding Nick Fuentes, is that he talks about mass migration, mass migration. And fair enough, I'm with him on the problems of mass migration, but like, Fuentes, bro, you do realize the Catholic NGOs, at least in America, are the number one facilitators of mass migration. Of course, and then we can get into our favorite country. You know, we're all arch Zionist on this channel. Everyone knows that. The AI knows that. And so we would never criticize AIPAC and any of the Zionist lobbies, but there's all these NGOs. And you see all these Jewish NGOs, and they talk about how they're going to make Western civilization inclusive, and they're going to bring all these people in. And it's like, one, Nick needs to realize that the Catholic Church is not going to fight globalism. Okay? And every Catholic needs to realize that at this point. That, the Catholic organization, one, you got Chrislam. And then the Catholic Pope Leo, the American Pope, just came out last week and basically endorsed more migration to Europe. That it's to help, all these refugees and these migrants that are suffering. Well, when you watch this Nick Shirley, so Nick Shirley just put out, this was 7 hours ago today. I was waiting for this video so I could watch it for today's stream. And he's in Ceuta. And it was invaded, obviously, by the Moroccans. Now, there's a bunch of other North African people, Sudanese, stuff like that. What you find is what we already knew. It's all military-aged men. In his video, and again, we're told, oh, all the people left yesterday. That's not true. That's a Western media lie. And it's hard. That's what this topic, it's so hard to figure out what's going on. One of the NGOs that I found was some type of Sisters of something. It was a Catholic NGO. I don't even have the link open anymore. It was some Catholic NGO. And they help bring more migrants into Spain and various parts of Europe. But anybody who's thinking the Catholic Church is going to stop mass migration or stop globalism or ecumenism or any other debauchery, homosexuality, has the Catholic Church been really staunch against homosexuality? No. Oh, I bet the Catholic Church will be really strong against AI. No. In fact, they're talking about incorporating it in different ways. Sisters of Mercy. That may have been it. Sisters of Mercy. That they are a Catholic NGO that's a huge facilitator of bringing like Muslim migrants into various parts of Europe. Not even close. It's not even close. Yeah, Nick Shirley glows. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. It may just be his moisturizer. I don't know. But maybe it's just his aura, Sarah. Maybe it's just you can't just deal with his aura. No, I actually agree with you. There's, just like the Somalian stuff, Somalian fraud. He was very, who is the other YouTuber that covered, I covered some of his videos about the Jews taking over various neighborhoods in New York and New Jersey, basically kicking out the locals, taking over the school board. That guy, he puts his neck out on the line. Nick Shirley doesn't really do any of that. So if it's critical of Islam, or Central American, South American migrants in the U.S., he'll cover that stuff, but other stuff, not so much. But anyways, I want to kind of give you guys a quick overview of everything regarding that happened, just to catch you up to speed. So we're told the Western media was saying 40,000. Turned out it's around 60,000. Now I heard one report that was 80,000, but that was kind of a one-off. So I've seen multiple reports saying 60,000 migrants crossed the border. Here's a video you can see. And then Ceuta is literally connected to Morocco, which is why all these people, including Trump and the Trump administration, is arguing that, well, it's actually Moroccan territory. No, Morocco wasn't even Moroccan until, 1956? So Morocco wasn't even Moroccan. It was French. And so these guys, all military aged, every person in Nick Shirley's video was in their 20s. Now, I mean, not every single. There was people as young as like 14. But I didn't see anyone in his video of these migrants that are still in Ceuta that was above 30 years old. They're all in their 20s. They're all saying, oh, I don't have a life in Morocco. Oh, I don't even talk with my family. I'm going to Europe. We're going to Europe. We're going to Europe. And the irony, and I'll show you a part of the video in Shirley's video, is these guys are... this was actually a false post. This was shown to be not from Ceuta, but a different place. Are talking about, Allah's going to make Europe Muslim. Allah's allowing us to go to Europe. And then they talk about Morocco or whatever Muslim nation they're from. And it's just all negative. There's no jobs. I don't get along with my family. There's no opportunities. I can't go to school. I'm fleeing from crime. Like one of the things that was recently found out is that Morocco, aiding and abetting this, basically stood down. So people have been asking, like, is it Israel that's behind it? We're going to get into all that stuff here in just a few. But what was interesting is, according to the migrants in Nick Shirley's video, when he asked them, like, who let you into Ceuta? They said, it was the Moroccan police. Because there was this Western media theory that this was not organized, that there was no government behind this. There's no NGOs. That this all happened because TikTok. There's a TikTok that went viral that told the Moroccans to flee into essentially Spain and try to take refuge, that there'd be jobs and opportunity. Well, then you go and you ask these guys, they're like, no, it wasn't on TikTok. No, it wasn't on TikTok. No, the Moroccan police 2 days before told us to go. No, the Moroccan police the day of said they'll put us in trucks and take us to the border. Oh, and then you find out that some of them were literal criminals, that Morocco was releasing people out of their jails, rapists, murderers, and then trucking them to the border to put them into Spain. So then the question is, why would Morocco do that? And we're going to get into this later. So here you can see videos, thousands and thousands of people, thousands of young men. Notice all the women and children. Notice all the families seeking refuge. So they promote Islam. I mean, this is what we're dealing with here. And so for those of you who don't know geographically where this is, you see these little bitty blue spots like right here and right here. These are actually Spanish territories. And Ceuta, as I said, was taken in I have the exact date. When was it? 1580. 1580, it became Spanish territory. And it's been Spanish territory ever since. Now, Morocco hasn't even been Moroccan. As I said, it was controlled by the French. They gained independence in the 1950s. They're not even a century old, Morocco, as an actual independent nation. And so the West, the Trump administration, has already laid out legislation that's been passed that this is actually should be recognized as Moroccan territory. Moroccan territory. So, and then when they come, of course, they bring Islamic blessings, right? They want to bless the population when they come to their new host nation. They want to show you, they want to share their culture with you. And so one way they do that is they stab people in the throat, like that guy did right there. So pretty gruesome. And then yep. So just so that YouTube won't take it down, we're not going to dwell on it too much. But you can see a little immigrant, Moroccan, bringing his lovely culture that he's fleeing from, strangely enough. I don't know why they would flee from such beautiful customs. Stabbing a guy in the neck. And that's not a one-off. That's not a one-off at all. You can see here, this is a post that I said, great to see skilled labor entering the workforce. So this was in Ceuta. One of the migrants apparently had a samurai sword. So he must have swam across with the samurai sword. So, just contributing to the local economy, clearly. Taking his skilled labor, the work that he has crafted over years, and, just bringing it to the Spanish. So this was a photo taken about 250 meters from my house. I have two girls, ages 3 and 7 years old, that I've basically had to escort all the way to the port along with my wife so that the three of them could leave for Malaga. It's not just that the city of 80,000 people, 50,000 have. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful culture. And here reports indicate illegals in Ceuta, Spain are now attempting to break into homes as midnight approaches. This was during the first night of their crossing. In case you believed what the Spanish government said about the majority of illegal migrants being returned to Morocco, here's what Ceuta looked like overnight. Doesn't look like they all left. Strange. According to Pedro Sanchez, the socialist prime minister, he said they all just voluntarily left. They got out of there. They didn't want to hang out. They didn't need to stay. They decided, just boogie on out. Get out of there. Doesn't seem to be the case. And even according to Nick Shirley's video, which was recorded yesterday and posted today, they're still there. And the Spanish military is still trying to escort people out, and they're hiding. and they're finding every way they can to potentially make it to Spain. Here's another interesting migrant. Footage of a stabbing in Ceuta hours after, again, around 60,000 illegals forced their way into the city. Who could have possibly seen this coming? I am shocked. I am shocked. I am shocked. You're telling me they have knives and they're trying to stab people? Somalification. Yeah. It's the smallification of Spain. But, Spain, if you guys don't know, just granted amnesty to, I forget how many hundreds of thousands of illegals. Here's the lovely, lovely migrants destroying graves of the Spanish people. Look, it's just a fun little pastime they have. It's just a game. They just trying to destroy the cemetery of people. It's fun. 500,000 DPH. That's what I thought. It was like 500,000 illegals were granted amnesty. And then here is Fox News talking a little bit about everything.
We just got an update from authorities in Spain who now say as many as 34 people died in those chaotic scenes. Tens of thousands of people, mostly from Morocco, surged across the border into the Spanish territory, really without anyone stopping them. The president of Ceuta says the current situation is absolutely unsustainable. The amount of people who pushed into the Spanish territory in just one day is equivalent to around 70% of the city's population. The military has now been deployed to help restore order. Spain's Interior Ministry says roughly 25,000 who crossed have already returned to Morocco on a voluntary basis. Spain's Prime Minister, though, Pedro Sanchez, is blaming criminal networks and human traffickers for the situation.
Definir lo que ha sucedido.
To describe what happened yesterday as an attack, a violation of Spain's territorial integrity. Ceuta is a Spanish city, and what happened yesterday deserves our strongest reproach and our firmest condemnation.
Sanchez says they're working with authorities in Morocco to return those who entered illegally, but needs more to be done to prevent this from happening again. He suggested placing buoys to create a containment barrier. But it is worth pointing out the chaos at the border came just after a Spanish court recently ruled arrivals by sea can't be directly deported. Also, there's a new Spanish program that gives legal status to illegal immigrants. Foreign policy analyst Niall Gardner says the West should be watching.
This is an absolute disaster for Europe. And it's the direct result of open borders, socialist, crazy policies, frankly, including a mass amnesty for illegal immigrants in Spain. And this is what happens, of course, when the left take power.
President Trump telling Fox News that the situation there in Spain is terrible. He says, quote, "Remember that picture? That's going to be us in 3 years if the wrong side gets in."
Well, he's not wrong about that. But Agenda 21 has been the plan for the entire 21st century. I hope all of you guys watching are familiar or have read Agenda 21. It's the UN agenda about mass migration, about where the 21st century is going, about the elimination of essentially majority ethnic groups in various countries, mostly first world Western nations. And so here, a lot of people were speculating. This woman, you can see now, people have said, oh, this is the problem with white liberal women. She's like welcoming people into Ceuta. And people began to notice something, that she may had a phenotype that looked eerily reminiscent of something else. So he said, think about it. You have a surge of illegals literally storming in, and the first thing a lone white Spanish woman does is want to stand in the middle of it, filming and urging them onward, and then just happens to be filmed by a third party. White man, your enemy is clever. He knows how to exploit your rage. Here the aim is to divert blame squarely onto white women as being supposed facilitators of your civilization's destruction. I'm willing to bet you $100 right now that the woman in this video is an ethnically white Christian woman, but a member of a minority which has a history of ushering Muslim hordes into Spain. Yair Netanyahu, what is it? His new name was it Yonton Hun? Yonton Hun. Netanyahu's son changed his name so he can travel around the world more easily without knowing that he's tied to his father's Greater Israel campaign. Says Yair Netanyahu, the Israeli prime minister's son, tweeted just yesterday encouraging North Africans to invade Spain as revenge for the Spanish people's anger for Israeli atrocities in the Middle East. Stay cool. Regard every new video with dispassionate regard. Don't turn on your wives, sisters, or mothers. And I will second that. I don't know if they show you what her side profile looked like, but it was certainly interesting. Didn't necessarily look like a European Caucasian nose. Now, this was posted today by Benny Johnson. So I don't know how serious we can take Benny Johnson. Isn't he like a closet homosexual or something? Maybe somebody in the chat knows. I'm not sure. Isn't Benny Johnson like known to be like a closeted homosexual? Or is that just like a Candace Owens conspiracy theory? It may be a Candace Owens conspiracy theory. So forgive me, Benny, for if I disparaged you or defamed you. I thought it was, at least the way I heard people talk about it, was like public knowledge. Aren't they all? John Castle says he is gay. I don't know. I don't know. That's the rumor I've heard. That's the rumor I've heard. Maybe the case. But he posted this video claiming that it was today. This is still going on in Ceuta. So the idea that they've all returned to Morocco does not seem to be the case whatsoever. They're trying to catch the countryside on fire, it appears. They must have learned from the California global climate change activists. That's exactly what they did. Milo said it on Tim Pool. Okay, that's what it was. I know he's married with kids. That's why I don't mean to defame the guy if he's not. If he's not, forgive me. Jesse, come on. If he's not, forgive me. But it seemed like there was a young man that came out and said that he had actions with him. I don't really trust Milo either. He seems to have a lot of dirt on people. Milo seems to know everyone's dirty secrets, but he kind of traffics in that world. You can't trust Milo. You can't trust Milo. Nathaniel throws in 5. Thank you so much, brother. Really appreciate you helping me reach the goal. We need 16 more, guys. 16 more to reach our goal for today. Nathaniel says, do you think there's an AI video of Fauci as an African witch doctor in blackface out there? I feel like we really need to that right now. You should make that. You should make that. That is hilarious. Do an AI generated Dr. Fauci giving out his Fauci ouchies as like a shaman, a tribal witch doctor in Africa. That's a funny idea. Texas Nevsky, Kodo crew member for 19 months, says, Dr. Fauci, give us AIDS. Dr. Fauci, giving us AIDS. I am going to promise I'm going to be gay. That's right. It's a banger. The whole world loved it. Nathaniel throws in another 5. Thank you so much, brother. He says, I understand why Franco cried himself to sleep on his deathbed. He was the only one keeping Spain from selling itself out to the liberal West. That's true. That's true. Franco, I think he was a more complicated figure than the West wants to depict him as. And it's sad to see how liberal Spain, I mean, they literally elected Pedro Sanchez, a socialist. And, one of the things when you look politically at Europe, you see the AfD rising in Germany, Le Pen in France, even though they're trying to prevent her from running for president. You're seeing Farage, although, I mean, what do you guys think of Nigel Farage? I feel like he's kind of weak. He's kind of presented to us. I don't know. Is Nigel Farage false opposition? I could easily see that being the case. but you see basically nationalist parties rising across all of Europe. However, in Spain, you see socialism. So Spain was kind of a misnomer in the last like European elections. They went more left while almost every other country is moving more right. Rich says, to be fair, Pedro Sanchez was elected on name recognition. Everyone in Spain knows someone named. You had me, Rich. I thought you had like a real thing to say. Yeah. Sanchez is mafioso. He came to power by fraud. Very possible. Le Pen is lax on immigration for a right winger. Well, isn't she kind of socialist too? You know, I don't know. But I know Le Pen, she is soft on like social issues. Isn't she like pro LGBTQ? And same thing with AFD, right? AFD is by far the more conservative nationalist option in Germany, but it's literally run by a lesbian German woman who's married to a Filipino, or Filipina, I should say, a Filipina woman. So, you know, I don't know. I haven't seen true, authentic right-wing options in Europe. I mean, the AfD is probably the best in Germany, but you know, socially, it's going to be liberal because it's led by a white lesbian woman married to an Asian woman. So, you know, I don't know. What current Spain legalized no way. No way. No way. I would have heard about that. No way. Spain did not fully legalize bestiality, but a 2023 amendment in its penal code changed how such acts are prosecuted, sparking controversy of whether it effectively decriminalizes non-injurious sexual acts with animals. Wow. The new law approved by the Spanish parliament in February 2023 replaced the previous blanket ban on sexual. Does that law need amending? Is the blanket ban on sex with animals, is there a nuance there that I'm missing? We need more nuance. He's like, you know, one of the problems with Spain is that our laws against bestiality, they're a little too strict. We need nuance here. What? Acts of sexual nature only if they cause injury requiring veterinary treatment. You know, this is exactly what happens when you get so many Muslim immigrants. They're just trying to protect their goat population, is what they're trying to do. They don't want the sheep and the goats to be harmed. Yeah, the important issues. Yeah. Hey, I know we're being overrun by massive immigrants, you know, massive amounts of immigrants flooding into Europe, but we have a problem on the books, and that's our bestiality laws. Yeah, since I'm going to be sick. Exactly. The Moroccans will feel at home. Exactly. Good Lord. Good Lord. Where is Western civilization? Unbelievable. But with all this going on, CN2 boiled over. Videos are circulating of residents chasing migrants through the streets, chanting for mass deportations. This is raw public. And the open frustration, Spain's immigration fight has moved from political speeches straight into the streets. Well, finally. I mean, until people start fighting back, nothing's going to change. No, Kristen, I did not see the memes of the goats leaving Spain. You guys stop. I'm trying to run a professional stream here, guys. I'm trying to present the news. You guys won't let me. There is some hope, though. This Asian man in Spain began to fight back. So apparently one of these Moroccans messed with one of the Chinese tourists there that actually knows, he's actually in touch with his Kung Fu ancestors. And he basically began choking this guy out. He's getting ready to just go totally cold. And then people pulled the Chinese guy off of him. The police came. But it's good to see the Asian man with glasses is able to finally subdue one of the Moroccans. And so young Spaniards have had enough. New videos show them filling the streets, loud, organized, and focused on national identity and the future of their country. Immigration, borders, and what Spain becomes next. A new generation is showing up in the public and making itself heard. I'm all for this. I'm all for this. It's the only way to stop it. It's the only way to stop it is for the young men of these nations to stand up in opposition. Because who is flooding the nation? Young men from all these other countries. Like, this idea that these are all just refugees is a joke. It's an absolute joke. And when we get to Netanyahu, he's literally going to talk about how one of the problems with the Gazans is that, the Israelis are not guilty for killing people. The rest of the world is guilty for not taking them into their countries. He literally says that in an interview. And so this woman, I don't know if you guys remember Isabel Peralta. She was sentenced to 3 years. I believe it turned out to be 1 year in prison for a Romanian salute in Spain calling out Jewish oligarchy. Well, this was when she did it 3 years ago. And this was her right after the Moroccan invasion, doing the exact same thing.
Asaltaron la frontera ceutí. Simplemente ayer, mientras estábamos junto a Núcleo Nacional realizando labores de ayuda en Pelayos de la Presa al recurso, es una invasión.
She's about to throw a Roman here.
Hoy simplemente quiero decir al Poder Judicial, a los fuerzas y cuerpos de seguridad del Estado, a la madre que parió al último de los parlamentarios, que pueden ir preparando la siguiente sentencia, porque esta no la lanzamos por el gorro de los cojones.
So she's going back to jail. Actually, I looked into the case, and so she appealed it. She has not served time for 3 years ago throwing a Roman salute. And then she just did this 2 days ago. And I guess she lost her appeal. And so she is going to face like 1 year. But from when I was looking in Spain, it's not in jail. It's basically under like house arrest or some type of like supervision by the authorities or something like that. So anyways, she's at it again. So now, am I in favor of Roman salutes per se? No, what I'm in favor in is nationalism rising up. Young people taking their countries back. The Spanish, the Germans, the English, the French, the Italians, people waking up, to what's happening. Every single person I've talked to who's gone to Rome in the last 5 years says it's terrible. It's disgusting. They had this idealistic Italian experience going and see the ancient city of Rome and the Colosseum and the Vatican and all the museums and the history. And from multiple people, all I heard was everything's color in graffiti. There's graffiti everywhere. It's dirty. There's migrants everywhere. There's crime. And what the sort of ideal Italian utopia they had was nowhere in existence. Steve the Turd throws in 5, says, it's an attempt to make people think cooler heads are prevailing. False right-wing movement. Yeah. No, I agree with you. Blink 4444 throws in 5, says, That Spaniard's chick's wings melted because she was based too close to the sun. Oh, you're calling her Icarus, are you? Okay, interesting. Interesting. Well, whatever it may be, I think it's a good thing to see the young people rise up in opposition to everything that's happening. Ben Shapiro's eyebrows gifted $10 over on Dono Chat. Thank you very much, Ben Shapiro's eyebrows. He says, God bless you, DPH. You the man. Well, thank you. You are the eyebrows. You are Ben Shapiro's eyebrows. So thank you for the support, man. I really appreciate it. Anyways, so we are seeing some resistance amongst the youth going on here, which is a good thing. But here was the Moroccan side. So we're going to get into who's funding all this stuff, how these people get here, that type of thing. But here we see the Moroccan army literally beating the Moroccans that came back. Not exactly the warm welcoming they were hoping for. They're fleeing back from Spain into Morocco, and they're getting worse treatment than they're getting in Spain. And wait till you see the next one. This is literally a Moroccan. So these are Moroccans going back into Morocco from Ceuta. Look, this guy throws his hands up. The Moroccan soldier hits him with a rock. Oh my gosh. You see this other guy's bringing another rock over. And then he's like, no, stop. And he gets down, and then they start beating him. That's the Moroccan police. That's the Moroccan police hitting the Moroccans. Unbelievable. Oh, guys. Dang, we're already at the 2-hour mark. We only have 1 minute left to reach our goal. 1 minute left. We're only at 8. Thank you so much, Ben Shapiro's eyebrows, for throwing another 5. And Blink 444 for throwing another 5. Thank you very much for that. Really appreciate it. Man, 12 more for the goal, guys. I'm going to have to start a new goal. You guys just don't love me. He's got a diaper. He's protected. Get the diaper on his face so he's protected. The Moroccan government probably didn't sanction this, so they must have issues with Zionists as well. No, actually, that's part of the realization is that Morocco is very close with Zionist Israel. They are very, very close. That's one of the things going on. As I'll get to right in just a few. We just have a few more tabs, and then we'll start getting into the interesting connections regarding all this stuff. Thank you so much. Steve the Turd throws in $5 more for the goal. Thank you very much, brother Steve. Really appreciate the support, my man. And Blink 444 throws in $2. Says, "Come on, DPH needs food." Exactly. I got a wife. We're gonna be having children. I need the help. 16 seconds. So looks like what we make it to 9. I'll set another goal for 10. Maybe we can we meet a goal of 10? Maybe we can meet a goal of 10. All right, let me add a new goal here. Sheesh. Okay. Maybe I'll have to do what Jim Bob does. He just sets it Jim Bob sets the goal for 10 every 30 minutes. Is that pretty effective? Maybe I need to take tips from Jim Bob. Okay. So back to Spain. You can see the Moroccan guard, not real happy these people are coming back to Morocco. That is just brutal. That is brutal. Like, that is so... You have a Moroccan... Look, he has his hands together like this. Let me make it bigger for you guys. His hands are literally like this in front of him. You see the Moroccan soldier with a big rock. And he just nails the guy. Oh my God. And then you see this guy coming over. What the hell? They just beat him. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Thank you so much. Bryce Gasper throws in 5, says, for the Dormition fast. Well, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Thank you. All right. So then Pedro Sanchez, now interesting character. As we just said, he's a socialist. He's a leftist, very, very leftist on social issues. And he was the hero of migrants. So if you go back to Nick Shirley's video and you listen to him speak to some of these migrants, he asked them, why are you wanting to go to Spain? Why are you wanting to go to Spain? And he says, oh, we love Pedro Sanchez. We love Pedro. And they go, oh, because Pedro Sanchez? Yes, he let us in. We go to Spain. Then we go to Europe. I go Germany. Okay. So I'll just play you a few quick sections from the Nick Shirley video. This is where all these people were being let in.
Group of Moroccans that are now going back to Morocco. So right here is where they all came into the country. And right now they're going back to Morocco.
Now there are still thousands upon thousands of migrants out inside the city, and we'll be finding them in just a moment. However, it's super important for you guys to understand exactly.
Okay, you guys already understand exactly what happened. So he starts walking around. You can see migrants everywhere. This guy is one of the only Spanish citizens that is like fighting against the migrant, not physically fighting, but documenting. He's a journalist. He posts this stuff in English and Spanish. And he said he saw a buildup days before the mass invasion happened, which leads you to think, okay, so a private citizen in Spain who lives in Madrid was watching social media posts, what's going on in Morocco, and saw that there was a building up of people at the border. And he suspected that there's going to be a mass invasion. And so he then went ahead and flew to Ceuta, and then it happened. So that's who Nick Shirley met up with to chat about everything that's going on.
This ship, in order to provide support.
And how did you know that people were going to start crossing into Spain the day that they did? Because you came all the way from Madrid.
Yeah, I came all the way over from Madrid by car because from Monday I started to see in the news that a little amount of people was doing that, but not at this dimension. It started slowly and then got completely out of hands.
And so you saw ahead of time, but the military and the police didn't.
Correct. That's a good point. I didn't think about that, but yes.
So you think they could have done something to stop this?
Yeah, they could did something beforehand, for sure. That's why all the Spanish people think that this was kind of coordinated.
As we get away from the border, people are still in floaties coming across. They have all these people sleeping here in the back of this shop right here.
So he just starts walking around. Now, one of the crazy things, like, look, these are the migrants. Notice all the women and children.
For trabajo, for mangiare, for colci.
Viva España. They start talking about how they want to go to Spain. Asking, where are you guys going to go?
Todo
Europe.
Nosotros todo Europa. Hasta, te digo yo, hasta Rumanía. Rusia necesita mano obra barata. Marroc manda. Derechos humanos.
He does some interviews. Then he sees all these migrants hiding in the mountains.
Now we got word that there are people.
This is where they're sleeping to stay away from the authorities. Right there, they had that man running away. So they're staying up here inside of the mountain, and then they're staying away from the authorities. There's another one coming out of the mountain right there. And now the military's coming through right now. Military just came through, yelled at the person. Now they're running back up into the mountain. Look, now there's another one coming through the mountain right here. Everyone just coming out, popping out of this mountain right now. 2 guys right there, another guy right there, another guy right there. 3 guys just popped out of the mountain.
And then this guy starts telling them,
so now all these guys are just coming out of the mountain. They can't get food, but they all have cigarettes somehow.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing is they talk about, oh, no, I don't work. I have no education. I need to go to Europe so I can make money. I need to go to school. And meanwhile, he's wearing like a Gucci. It could probably be knockoff fake. He's like got a Gucci shirt on and new Nikes on. I don't have work in Morocco. I don't know. I need to go to Europe. I need to go to Europe. It's like, dude, you act like you're poor. I don't have no money for food. Why do you have a Gucci shirt on? Why are those new Air Force Ones? How the heck did you get those? Like there was one of the people who went over was actually like a social media influencer from Morocco. Like here's them pulling migrants out of drainage next to the beach. You see all these people hiding in the drainage, forcing them to get out, like that person right there. Let's see. This was a Spanish father, says we opened borders and beasts, animals, and savages came in. I prefer hate crimes than them killing my daughter. That's the kind of rhetoric we need. This guy right here. So one of the invaders who went viral is a bodybuilder with a luxurious life in Morocco. This is him. I just need work. I need work. I need to go to Europe for work. I don't have job. Morocco, so bad. I have no job. I gotta go to Spain.
Before you go.
And then you have videos of him literally in like Mercedes Benz. This is him right here. Inside a Mercedes Benz. I don't have work. I need to go to Europe. It's so ridiculous, man. It's so ridiculous. These people are not refugees. Oh, by the way, did you guys see this one? Raymond Ibrahim, I saw him post, Syrian teen given 10 months in closed youth care in Sweden for repeated rape of 14-year-old girl he called his whore and a dog. Gosh. It's probably her fault. She probably just didn't know. She just didn't know Muslim culture. You know, she didn't appreciate. She did not appreciate. It's so crazy. It's so irritating to watch all this stuff. Layman Pundit throws in 5. Thank you, sir. And Ben Shapiro's eyebrows throws another 5 for shrimp and lentils. You know, actually, my wife has tons of shrimp in the freezer I have to eat. You're not joking. We have hundreds of shrimp that I'm about to eat for the fast. You're right. Thank you very much, Ben Shapiro's eyebrows. Mr. Feast throws in 20, says overdue tithe. You were almost excommunicated, Mr. Fist. I wasn't going to say it. You know, I hate to bring this stuff out publicly, but you were this close. You were this close. My contact is killing me right now. I don't know if you guys can see it. My eye, it feels like there's something underneath my contact. Gregory throws in 5, says, for the jizya. That's right. You either convert to orthodoxy or you pay your jizya. That's what goes on in the chat. Nathaniel throws in 5, says, who do you think they need more right now? Charles Martel or Scipio Africanus? I'm going to go with Charles Martel. Blue Skittle. Wasn't this right? Have Jay and Jake's debate of Jake saying how good Morocco was? I didn't watch that. I saw clips. I did not go back and watch some of those debates. I'm going to have Rachel Wilson will be on next week. We're going to be talking about some of the Candace Owens crazies and her debate with Not So Erudite. So if you guys have any specific questions for her, that one was funny. The Not So Erudite one, that was a good one. I can't. Not So Erudite. Is there a better name for someone? She literally is not so erudite. Oh, man, what got in my eye? You can see my right eye is so red right now. Oh. Anyways, thank you so much, Caleb, for sending in $10 over on Streamlabs. Really appreciate you, my man. Okay, going back to Nick Shirley's video here, there's just a few more things I want to show you, and then we'll move on to Netanyahu and Israel's connections to all this stuff. One of these guys literally starts threatening them that they need to announce like Allah. Where is it? I wish I had it. It's like Allah, Muhammad. I came here to say Muhammad is Allah's messenger. Is Muhammad? Will you say Muhammad? And he's like, no, I'm not going to say that. So anyways, they start driving around. They find where more of these people are and how they're desecrating the cemetery.
You have migrants that are showering on their graves. Kind of crazy to think about. You as a man from Spain, to see that migrants are now showering on the dead graves of people who died for Spain, how does that make you feel?
If my ancestors, these are my ancestors. These, all of them are my ancestors. If they wake up, they will say, this is insane. This is insane. Send them back immediately.
And now right here, it looks like the military has grabbed a group of the guys that were up in the mountain. Now they're all coming down, being walked down the mountain right now. And once again, not a single woman in sight. It's all just a group of men, right?
What is this a new fashion trend? It's like the flip-flop migrants. I'm pretty sure every single one of them has like a pair of flip-flops on. Oh no, he's got shoes on. Like the flip-flop migrants. It's like the sticky bandits from Home Alone. These are the flip-flop migrants. And then anyways, he goes and he finds all these kids that are like 14, 15, 16 years old. And then they get chased. One of these migrants end up trying to stab them.
So now people here to feel safe, they're walking around with their dogs.
Watch this.
Because Muslims do not like dogs. Watch out, watch out, watch out. Now we got people throwing stuff at us.
Well, they're just welcoming you to the neighborhood. They just moved in.
Look, he's got the rocks now. He's throwing rocks. Oh, shit. They're throwing rocks.
Welcome to the neighborhood, Nick Shirley. I'm going to stab both of you. No. Why he runs after him and his bodyguard.
Look, now we're getting chased. He has a knife. He has a knife. He got a knife. He's got a knife.
So anyways, that's Nick Shirley's video of Ceuta, Spain. And then this NPR article I was going to read, this is from 2 days ago. Spain's Pedro Sanchez was a hero of migrants. After Ceuta, he faces his biggest challenge. Talking about U.S. President Trump called the crossings of the migrants in Ceuta a catastrophe and an invasion, which it is, blaming on what he called weak and very liberal laws in Spain. That is true, too. The U.S. State Department even posted on social media blaming the crisis on Sanchez's migration-friendly policies. Well, I don't disagree with that, but as I'm going to show you in just a few minutes, the U.S. and Trump administration has already recognized Ceuta as Moroccan. So I guess the Trump administration is anti-colonial now. Oh my gosh, we got to fight the colonizers of Spain, even though they've had it since 1580. They've had Ceuta since 1580. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni said the crisis in Spain showed the threat irregular migration presents to European security. It even temporarily suspended Italy's open border Schengen agreement with Spain, reimposing border controls for air and sea for travelers coming from the country. In Spain, Sanchez's political opponents also seized the opportunity. The far-right Vox party, which has increased in presence in the Spanish parliament in recent years on an anti-immigration platform, seems common sense to me. Is that really a controversial platform in Europe right now? And the immediate deportation of all migrants who crossed still seems common sense to me. I'm not seeing how this is right-wing, including minors, rightfully so. The center-right opposition party, Partido Popular, also called the government to declare a national emergency, close the borders, and mobilize the army. Fair enough. Sanchez is a savvy media player. The crisis after crisis, from COVID-19 pandemic and the deadly 2024 floods in Valencia to the country's blackout in 2025 and the present-day wildfires, he has managed to survive attacks from political opponents and stay ahead of the narrative. Spaniards even joke about his capacity to handle one crisis after another. The only thing left is an alien invasion. Again, what are the reasons for the border crisis? It doesn't exactly say. It does, though, agree that this was clearly organized. 60,000 people. You know how hard it is to organize an event of 100 people, to get 100 people of like mind to go to an event? And we're talking 60,000 people in a day. Definitely organized. There have been previous attempts to cross the borders into Ceuta and Melilla, the other Spanish territory in the region, sometimes by charging it in mass. The last such episode in Ceuta took place in 2021 and is now known as the Crisis of the Minors because it mostly involved children swimming to Ceuta. But there is something different about the latest incident. Most migrants were Moroccan, and critics allege the Moroccan law enforcement were absent, even complicit, from the Moroccan side of the border at the most critical hours on Thursday when thousands of migrants were freely crossing the border by foot, some of them women and kids, and what appeared to be coordinated flow of people. This is the director for North Africa in the International Crisis Group. I think after almost 48 hours since the beginning of the crisis in Ceuta, we can safely say that this was a manufactured crisis. Yeah, obviously. He added, we have testimonies by some Moroccans who crossed into Ceuta. We have videos circulating online showing trucks full of people unloading them in front of the complicit Moroccan police forces. Well, in Nick Shirley's video, they literally say it was the police that brought them over. The police literally waved them over, said, okay, you can go ahead and go now. I forget where exactly that was. Somewhere in here when he's talking with all these kids. They literally, he asked like who, oh, I know where it was now in the video. It was like right here. The Moroccans,
the police in Morocco, they told them to come.
Right now we have this young kid translating for us. We just asked them if they came through because of social media and TikTok, and they just said that the Moroccan police let them in. Why'd you come here to?
The Moroccan police let them in. Now, why would the Moroccan police let them in unless they were told to let them in? Which makes a lot of sense, especially once we start getting into Netanyahu and Israel and some of their very tight, close relationships with Israel. So moving forward here, let's go back to the document. Morocco's ambassador to Spain said the situation in Ceuta had unfolded against Morocco's wishes. We have always prioritized legal, orderly, and safe migration for all. Karima Beniyak told the Associated Press she did not comment on what prompted the migrants to cross into Ceuta. So, okay. Now, here is, this is a Republican in the U.S. Who is it? What may be one of the most politically consequential utterances by a sitting U.S. congressman on the status of Spain's North African enclaves in years, Republican Representative Mario Diaz-Balart has declared that Ceuta and Melilla are not in the geographic territory of Spain, but in the territory of Morocco. And their fate is established, negotiated, and discussed between friends and allies. Now, why would the U.S. vote on a policy and then you have congressmen coming out and stating that policy openly? Like, let me go over here and find where Trump administration went ahead and recognized. Here it is right here. People, this is Alex Jones. People who are in denial about the fact that the Trump administration gave the green light for the Moroccan Islamic invasion of Spanish territory are living in fantasy land. Below is the recently passed law. So here is it. Bill titled National Security, Department of State and Related Programs Appropriations Acts 2027. You can see 215 yeses from the Republicans, 208 noes from the Democrats. Now, what is it about? Here you can read in the bill, the committee notes that the Spanish administrated cities of Ceuta and Melilla are located in Moroccan territory and remain the subject of Morocco's longstanding claim. The committee supports efforts by the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, to encourage diplomatic engagement between Morocco and Spain on the future status of Ceuta and Melilla. So, we already highlighted that Trump has a bit of an animosity towards Spain because they were not letting him use their ports and their bases in their attacks of Iran. Spain, despite being a leftist socialist government, and Pedro Sanchez is a total loser, he was very critical of Netanyahu and Israel, rightfully so. And many Spanish people are, right? That's one of the features of the Spanish people is they are very outspoken regarding Zionism and our greatest ally in the Middle East. It's a bastion of democracy, guys. It's a bastion of democracy. But this was literally what the U.S. Congress voted on, and Trump approved it, and the law was passed. And right here, this very recently, 2026, this very recently passed House bill directs at least $40 million to Morocco with a wink and a nod and encouragement that this land is theirs. Same bill gives $3.3 billion to Israel. Huh. Well, what the heck? You guys are going to have to help me put dots together because I just have such a trouble with this. Here's Pedro Sanchez with Alex Soros. George Soros' son, the Open Society. Okay. Interesting. This is Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez in the wake of Ceuta saying, I believe that its diversity is one of the greatest attractions and also one of its greatest strengths. If you guys aren't picking up that these guys are scripted yet, it's the same exact thing we hear here. And then here is in the UK. Look at all these ugly
immigrants during their journey,
British
now very happy apparently. So you can see these NGO workers here who have been helping the illegal immigrants during their journey, now very happy apparently. Guys, est-ce que vous parlez anglais? Est-ce que vous parlez anglais? It's a public place. It's a public place. C'est un lieu public, no? You're facilitating illegal immigration, madam. Beware, this is a criminal offense. It's a criminal offense.
And so Elon Musk then says, who is funding these NGOs? The million-dollar question we all want to know. The U.S. aid was a big contributor for the longest period. But some speculate maybe some of these. I don't know. I would never say that because we love Israel. We love Israel on this YouTube channel. We would never say a negative thing about Israel. But some weird guy online was posting stuff like that. I just don't get it. And then here, let's listen to Nick Fuentes talk a little bit because let me give you context for everything he's going to say. So this is an article from Intermountain Jewish News posted November 21st, 2024. Okay, so a little less than 2 years ago, right? And what it says is, permit us to introduce Shimon Fildler. And the article that Shimon writes, it says, Europe's punishment, let me make it bigger for you guys so you guys can really see. Europe's punishment for the Holocaust is the destruction of its culture. The fact that radical Islam is taking over the continent. That's weird. I thought, oh, that's probably Photoshop, though. You can't trust anything online, right? So I looked it up. Intermountain Jewish News, Europe's payback for the Holocaust. And all of a sudden I got this on Brave. An article titled Europe's Payback for the Holocaust was published on November 14, 2024. Whoa, okay. A Denver-based Jewish newspaper, but was quickly removed by its editors following backlash. The piece attributed current demographic and cultural changes in Europe, specifically increased migration of Muslim-majority countries, to a form of historical retribution for the Holocaust, quoting Simon Felder, a Holocaust survivor and former mayor of Lawrence, Kansas, who stated, quote, Europe's punishment for the Holocaust is the destruction of its culture, the fact that radical Islam is taking over the continent. The article argued that Europe's failure to integrate immigrants has led to rising anti-Semitism and the erosion of democratic norms. Oh, it's the Europeans' fault. Okay. Framing these developments as an ironic consequence of the continent's role in the Holocaust. It cited recent anti-Semitic riots in Amsterdam and the growth of no-go zones in France and Sweden as evidence. The piece was republished and translated by several non-mainstream outlets, including Magna Polonia, looks like another Polish site, which amplified its claims as evidence of a deliberate Jewish strategy. Through the original IJN article, did not make such an assertion explicitly. So nothing to worry, guys. It is not explicit. Do not worry about it. This is the only article I could find of it. This is from a Polish site, and so I'll share that link with you guys. But you really don't need to read it because turns out it's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing to even worry about. So interesting little find there. And then let's just keep moving forward. Let's just see what we got here. Let's just keep moving forward. Israeli Minister Ben-Gvir, we all know and love Ben-Gvir, you know, the war criminal, taunting Spain's prime minister and calling on him to take in the Gazans as well. Strange. So Israeli Ben-Gvir says, my congratulations to the president of the government of Spain, Pedro Sanchez, for his profound commitment to welcoming immigration and human diversity. See, he's just congratulating him. You know, the Israelis are really nice, friendly people. They're just congratulating Sanchez on his diversity program. As someone who demonstrates great concern for Hamas and the residents of Gaza, I call on you to translate words into actions. Open the doors of Spain and grant refugee to the citizens of Gaza who seek to immigrate. This is an excellent opportunity to contribute a little more to Spain's human diversity. There's plenty of criticism to be placed in the lap of Sanchez right now, but his support for the people of Gaza, while men like Ben-Gvir are calling for its extermination, was commendable. Politicians are not all good or all bad, yada, yada, yada. Okay, whatever. So, interesting. They're kind of taunting Pedro Sanchez. Here's some of the migrants saying their goal was to make it to Germany. Now we're in Europe. Allah willed it so. In the coming days, we'll continue our journey to Germany. In Germany, they'll be classified as unaccompanied minor refugees, even though they are not refugees and often not even minors. And then each one costs them up to 15,000 euros per month. Wonderful. Let's see what we got here. Oh my gosh. Who would make something like this? Disregard, disavow. No way. No way. Disavow this. Who would make an AI like this? This is terrible. This is just terrible. Why would anybody make an AI like this? That just breaks my heart. That breaks my heart. People are using AI to make stuff like that. Strong relationship between Morocco and Israel. So, okay, what we do know, based on NPR and public records and stuff like that, is that the Moroccan government, at least in some way, gave, or because surely the Moroccan police force didn't just come up with this conclusion on themselves that they're just going to open the border. Surely they wouldn't do that. So let's assume that the Moroccan government was aware as well. I just decided, okay, Brave, tell me what the relationship between Morocco and Israel is. And it says this: Morocco and Israel have established a robust strategic partnership characterized by deep military, economic, and cultural ties. Despite ongoing public tensions in the region, following the 2020 Abraham Accords, the two nations upgraded their relationship from clandestine cooperation to former diplomatic relations, with Israel recognizing Morocco's sovereignty over Western Sahara in 2023. Okay, so they just have diplomatic relations, right? Military and security cooperation between Morocco and Israel has intensified significantly, with both countries signing a joint military work plan for 2026. Well, what year is it? Oh, it's 2026. And engaging in high-level intelligence sharing driven by shared concerns over regional instability and Iranian influence. This strategic alignment provides Morocco with advanced security capabilities and a counterbalance to its neighbor Algeria, while granting Israel greater diplomatic acceptance and influence in North Africa. Economic and cultural links continue to expand through tourism, technology, and renewable energy projects, bolstered by a large Moroccan Jewish diaspora in Israel. What? Huh. Wow. So you're saying that there's a large Moroccan Jewish diaspora in Israel, that maintains strong familial and political connections to Morocco. What? Okay. While approximately 1/3 of the Moroccan population expresses reservations about normalization, the official stance remains steadfast, with leaders viewing the alliance as crucial for national security and region stability. What could that all mean? What could that all mean? Now, surely it's just a misunderstanding, right? Oh, what's this? Benjamin Netanyahu and his son Yair Netanyahu have been calling for the invasion of Spain's cities of Ceuta and Melilla by Arabs and Muslims since at least 2019? Why would they do that? Netanyahu's son wrote, "Dear Arabs and Muslims, want to free occupied Arab Islamic lands? Here's a good start." Oh, what a nice post. He's just trying to direct them to the right place, right? That's he's just trying to, sometimes the Arabs, they don't know exactly where the geography is. He's just trying to show them where at. Here's Ceuta, here's Melilla. Just go ahead and take those. Oh, okay. Earlier this year, Netanyahu said that Spain had decided to stand up against Israel and that it would make an example of the country. What? Netanyahu said that? No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Netanyahu wouldn't say something like that. "I do not intend to allow any country to wage a diplomatic war against us without paying an immediate price," Netanyahu says. Oh, here's the original video? Oh, okay. Let's see if it's in. Okay, I'll read it because it's in Hebrew. "Israel will not remain silent in the face of those who attack us. Spain has defamed our heroes, the soldiers of the IDF, the soldiers of the most moral army in the world." You see, you guys didn't know that, did you? You guys are probably too bigoted to even know that the IDF is the most moral army in the world, guys. Take note, okay? Take note. They're the most moral army in the world. Spain is just jealous of them. "Therefore, I have instructed today to remove Spain's representatives from the coordination center in Kiryat Gat after Spain has chosen repeatedly to stand against Israel. Those who attack the state of Israel instead of terrorist regimes will not be our partners. Regarding the future of the region, I will not be willing to tolerate this hypocrisy and hostility. I do not intend to allow any country to wage a diplomatic war against us without paying an immediate price," says Benjamin Netanyahu. Okay. That's strange. And then in the same month that happened, so this video was posted in April of this year. This bill was put together in April of this year and then voted on in July of this year, last month. Wait, so the U.S. wrote a bill claiming that Ceuta and Melilla are actually Moroccan territories and gave Morocco $40 million and $3.3 billion to Israel And that bill was created in the same week that Netanyahu said that there will be a retaliation against Spain. Huh. Oh, what's this? Oh, the Trump, Netanyahu, and Moroccan alliance? Huh. Pay an immediate price. Netanyahu's dire warning for Spain after labeling them anti-Israel. What month? April 11th. Oh, yeah, the same month that the U.S. bill was written. Huh. Rubio's State Department joined Israel in recognizing Muslim Morocco's right to take Spanish territory by force. Now Trump and his Israel First allies are threatening the U.S. will face the same fate if we don't vote for AIPAC-backed Republicans in the midterms. Huh. So if we don't vote for Israel, you're saying that the Jewish president of Mexico, Scheinbaum, would let all these immigrants into the United States? What? Surely not.
You know, I saw Spain yesterday, and I watched the catastrophe that took place. It looks like an invasion of a country by hundreds of thousands of people. And that same thing's going to happen to us if the Republicans don't get elected, except worse. Much bigger, much easier to get into, despite the fact that we have built thousands of miles of wall, which I said we were going to do, but we didn't have that, forget it. But we have the safest border in the world. If we're not in office, our country will be invaded at levels that made Spain look small time. And when I watched it, I said, boy, I'm going to say it because I knew you were going to be at Camp David. And I say, that's going to be a talking point for the midterms. Because when you look at what happened to Spain, they don't know what to do. And it's happening again today. They're coming in by the tens of thousands. They're just invading the country. And what that is weak law, bad management, but very liberal law. They passed a couple of laws, and people are smart. They read from other countries, and they swam that 3-mile swim or however they got in, but nobody's seen anything like it. That will look good compared to what's going to happen to the United States.
Here's Trump pointing out the problem, but in this case, not telling you that it's our State Department with Israel saying, "Oh, you're not going to let us launch B-2 bombers out of Spain? Oh, you're not going to support our Iran war? Well, I will tell you what we're going to do. How about a little Islamic invasion up your butt?"
No, Alex, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. Come on.
The next segment to the legislation that passed just a few months ago, giving $40 million to Morocco, specifically the country of Morocco, the Islamic caliphate run by a king, gave it to him and said, this is because we recognize you control Ceuta and these other Spanish areas, and we think you should take it. So when they passed the aid bill, it's in the aid bill that this is to recognize that this is yours. So our State Department did this with Israel. Israel's bragging about it, helping these groups. It's all part of the Abraham Accords to make this deal. And now it's happened, and now we've been covering it since last week, and the neocons run around saying we're completely insane, none of this is happening. So this is an example of how we go fight the Muslims over there, they end up over here.
Real time. Strange how that keeps working. Oh, here's Trump says Spain is a wasted cause. We don't want any trade business with Spain anymore. By the way, I'd like to cut off Spain. Spain is a terrible partner in NATO. Cut off all trade with Spain, please, including visits. We don't want anything to do. They're hopeless. They're bad people, according to Trump. Huh. Interesting. This is a True Social post. Alex Jones says, do you think it was a good idea for Trump and Israel to back the Muslim invasion of Spain as payback? Below, 47 recognizes the attempted takeover of Spanish areas of North Africa by the King of Morocco. Thank you. This is Trump. To highly respected Mohammed VI, the King of Morocco. Such a great honor. I look forward to traveling the entire length of this great highway someday, hopefully soon. President DJT. And then we have United States has been clear. We recognize Moroccan sovereignty over Western Sahara. We support Morocco's serious and realistic autonomy proposal as the only basis for a just and lasting solution. Any other path prolongs the status quo and is unacceptable. This urgently needed solution will not only bring peace to the region, but prosperity and greater integration for all of Africa. That warms my heart. That warms my heart. Oh, what's this? Ben Gavir says Israeli spitting on Christians is a Jewish tradition? Huh? Weird. What's this? Israeli Jews who attacked Armenian church said it was religious duty to humiliate Christians. We're supposed to hate idol worshipers, the Israeli says. Article highlights the rise of anti-Christian hate in Israel that authorities are turning a blind eye to. Huh. What's this? 6 religious Jews take turns spitting on St. James Monastery in Jerusalem's Armenian quarter. After spotting women filming, they shouted, "Get back inside, you daughter of a whore," while hurling rocks at her. All 6 arrested, with 3 banned from Jerusalem's Old City for 15 days. Huh. That's so strange. What's this? Netanyahu asked why Gazans do not have the freedom to leave. He compared this Gazan Strip to North Korea and blamed other countries for refusing to take people out. He then wondered out loud why Gazans lack the basic right to move that billions of others enjoy. Maybe he forgot that Israel controls the main exits, decides who gets through, and has repeatedly restricted movement and aid into the territory, asking the world to help the Gazans while the IDF holds the keys to the gates as a special kind of performance. Of course, we can't hear it. It's all in Hebrew. And I'm missing a few things that I also wanted to show you guys. So let me go through here. I have, oh, this was one of them. Did you guys see this?
Why?
Israeli lawyer Yehuda Shimon has gone viral for calling for the complete extermination of the Palestinian people because he views one Jewish life as equivalent to 1 million Palestinian lives. He said God has chosen them and that the Bible authorizes all of the land as belonging to them. That just sounds racist. Yes, I know. Let's hear what he has to say. Sounds like a really nice guy. Jewish lawyer.
And Sarah, even Jit and Sarah. Why? Because we don't want it to happen again.
It sounds like you're saying one Jewish life is worth hundreds or thousands of Palestinian lives.
Not million. One Jewish life, it's 10 million, okay?
That just sounds racist.
Yes, I know. I know, but this is the truth. Because God chose us. Because of this, you are jealous. The Bible is the authorizing that this land, it's belong to us, okay?
Israel occupied it militarily.
Yes,
and under international law, that means that no civilian settlements can be built in.
But the God not write in the Bible, the international law.
So you're a lawyer,
yeah,
and you're saying the only law that really counts for you is the Bible.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. What is she some atheist? Of course. Of course. Duh. Guys, we have 15 minutes left, and we only need 3 more super chats to reach our goal today. 3 more super chats to reach our goal. You know, if you haven't sent in your tithes to the church, this would be a good time to send your tithes in. I know, Nikki Noodles, you're just jealous that you're not part of the chosen people, okay? Jealousy is a sin, and it does not look good on you, my friend, okay? They believe they are the seed of Seth. They believe they are the God's actual children, just like the Nazis thought they were the sons of the Ariana gods. Yeah, no. You guys are just jealous. You guys are just jealous. You're just not part of the in group, okay? That's what you guys are jealous about. So help me reach my goal before we end up losing our time here. This is one of the things that I wanted to show you. Now, Jackson Hinkle is a total doucher. Jackson Hinkle is a performative Orthodox. He is not Orthodox whatsoever. He is a communist, though. He's a shill of some sort. I don't know how he has 3.8 million followers. I don't know how that happened. Jackson Hinkle, do whatever you see of him. I've seen so many Orthodox Christians share Jackson Hinkle thinking that he speaks for us. He is a LARPer. Jackson Hinkle is not Orthodox. He is an outright communist. However, you need to watch this video. You need to watch this video. Thank you, Blue Skittle. You know, speaking right from my heart. We love Israel. We love Israel, guys. We love Israel. Yeah, no, Jackson Hinkle is definitely an asset of someone. Definitely an asset of someone. I don't know who, but he's getting paid and he's getting promoted. And he's never censored, no matter what he says. Like, how does, I mean, right when the Ukraine-Russia war, when like Americans couldn't even get into Russia, somehow he gets into Russia and he gets out of Russia and then he comes back to the US, no problem. Something's off. Something's off. Layman Pundit throws in 10. Thank you so much, Layman Pundit, for the support, my man. God bless you. I think we're just one away from our goal today. We finally hit the goal. Just one away, guys. One more for the victory. So watch this. This is Marco Rubio announcing the new immigration policy of the United States, that if you are found to have been critical of Israel, you will not get a visa to come here. You think that's dystopian, but it's now official U.S. policy. So not only is our military and the IDF fused, not only is the IDF getting access to all of our intelligence, our military strategy, our logistics. Now, if you're even found to be critical of Israel and you're trying to immigrate to the United States, well, you're just shit out of luck, because we don't accept those people here. We only accept people who love Israel, okay? Those are the only people we accept in this country now. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. Watch this video.
Under President Trump, the United States will stand with the Jewish people. We have implemented a vigorous new visa policy that will prevent foreign nationals from coming to the United States to foment hatred against our Jewish community. We are holding international organizations and nations accountable for rhetoric against Israel that resurfaces in the manifesto of monsters like Iran and Sarah's killer. But we do see an eventual light at the end of this long tunnel of suffering. One can imagine a Middle East in which the Abraham Accords eventually reign. So thank you for the opportunity to address you.
The Department of State of the United States of America. Do you guys hear? You hear that, anti-Semites? You're not welcome over here. You won't even get a visa. You won't even get a visa. If we look at your social media and you've been a little bit critical of the greatest democracy in the Middle East, the beacon of light in the desert, we don't want you here. We don't want you here. Lil Marco already said it. That's the official policy of the Trump administration. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable where we are, guys. You know, people say, hey, we're controlled by the Zionists. Yeah, I say so. They have control. I mean, they have access to our military intelligence. They dictate who we allow into our own country. If they were critical of another country, the United States won't let them immigrate here. Oh my gosh. No, that was not AI. That was not AI. That is a new policy. It should be AI. It should be AI. Hey, major thank you to Lockstep, who threw in $5. No comment. Thank you very much, Lockstep. God bless you, bro. Blink 444 helped us reach the goal. He says, wish I could do anything and still be considered the good guy. We love Israel. We do love Israel. I may just get a big old Star of David just tattooed right here. Just boom, boom, boom. And then how'd the other one go? Boom, boom, boom. Just right here. Just, I love Israel. That way, nobody, at least I won't be deported from my own country that way. Bakken Pandanibus throws in 5, says, let's chat sometime. Of course. God bless, bro. Thank you very much for the support. I really appreciate it. And thank you very much to Lockstep, who threw in 5 as well over on the Streamlabs. Thank you very much, Lockstep. So there's a few more things that I had. Again, I had so much stuff. Like this was a video of Ceuta I didn't have. So you remember that woman who was, waving in the migrants in Ceuta? Now, some crazy person online posted this. I don't even know what it means. I don't even know what that means. Can you guys put it together for me? I don't even knows what that means. Do you guys knows? You guys knows what that means? I just can't seem to sniff out what they're trying to tell me. Do you guys know something that I don't knows? Is it AI? I didn't see any label on it. Somebody says it's AI though. Is it AI? I don't know. It says it's not fake. Very easy to see upon zooming in the video. I don't know. I don't knows what they're trying to say. So it just goes right over my head. I don't even get it. Oh, yes. This was one of the videos I wanted to show you guys. So I thought Fuentes had some good things to say about this whole situation. Check it out.
6 years ago, Morocco became one of the countries that joined the Abraham Accords. 4 Muslim countries in the first administration of Donald Trump recognized Israel's sovereignty and existence in exchange for benefits from the United States and opening up bilateral relations with Israel. So in 2020, under Trump, Morocco recognized Israel's existence. Morocco and Israel deepened their bilateral intelligence, security, and economic ties. And Morocco became a major and significant and important ally of Israel. Well, recently, you may know this, Spain, almost on exactly the same timeline, has become an enemy of Israel. Because as it so happens, because Spain has a left-wing government, the same left-wing government that opened up the borders to immigrants is also supportive of Palestine. And so ever since October 7th, these same left-wingers in control of Spain, they've also been extremely hostile to Israel, Israel's government, and oppose Israel's war in Gaza. And so the Spanish ministers have called for Netanyahu's arrest. The left-wing Spanish regime has implemented an arms embargo against Israel. The left-wing Spanish government refused to allow a ship bringing weapons to Israel to dock at a Spanish port. And this has incensed the Israelis. But not just the Israelis, also the Israelis' allies in America. Because, of course, Israel also controls the United States, and specifically the Republican Party and the right-wing government in Trump's second term. And there's something very interesting that happened a few months ago. In April of this year, just a few months ago, in the congressional record, the House of Representatives did a report about the security situation in Morocco, and it said that those 2 Spanish enclaves, those 2 Spanish cities in northern Africa, Ceuta is one of them, the one that's being invaded right now, the Republican House report said that those 2 territories are Moroccan territory occupied by Spain. And the report says that the State Department under Marco Rubio should see to it and facilitate the return of those territories to Morocco.
Now, I already showed you those documents earlier, and that was the bill that was passed July 15th of this year.
That's a House Republican report on these cities, on these Spanish cities in Morocco. Now, what do you think accounts for the change? Why do you think it is that the Republican Party in the United States wants to see Spain punished and Morocco rewarded? That's a policy change from the point of view of the United States. The Republican Party is instructing the State Department to change our policy towards Spain and Morocco and say that we should promote the conquest of Spanish territory by Morocco, saying that that's occupied Moroccan territory pursuant to some treaty from the 18th century. Well, it's very obvious to see. The reason Republicans support the invasion of the Spanish cities is they're doing this on behalf of Israel. They're promoting Morocco's core security interests, punishing Spain at the expense of their core security interests, because Spain is an adversary of Israel and Morocco is.
This has to be a troll. Toro Matias, I know you becoming Catholic soon, bro. Not ever going to happen. History will prove how we, the real enemy of the Jews, Spanish Universal Catholic monarchy, Viva Cristo Vey. Bro, really? Do you know anything about the history of the Byzantine Empire? Do you know who fought the Muslims first? Do you know anything about history? Seriously, dude? You think socialist Spain calling out Zionism is going to make me convert to Catholicism? Please. Bro, come on, man. Come on, man. Yeah, bro, a bagel wrote your Vatican II dogma. Exactly. Spanish made a whole continent Catholic. Okay. What does that mean? And a mixed race. The opposite of the chosen people. All right. All right. I don't think he did. He got me wheezing. He got me. I felt like I was between two ferns for a second. Going wild off the juice. Bro, what are you talking about? Do you even know why the Jews went to Khazaria? It's because the Byzantine Empire was forcing them to convert. Toro got me wheezing like I'm between two ferns right now. Oh, man. No, bro. No. What's going to happen is you're going to see the Catholic Church continue to fund mass migration, and you're going to see more and more people become Orthodox, my friend. Oh, South America? I wouldn't brag too much or say the whole continent. Yeah. Bagels be making the modern Chaco Catholic Church. Dr. Crispy says, Toro, thank you for your service. Okay, that's XX Lockstep. Fair enough. As you can see, we've taken our sarcastic turn on these live streams. Forcibly so, because I've been getting hammered by the transcript once the live stream processes. So sarcasm it is. And in fact, I think it just makes the stream a little bit more fun. There's a little bit more of an inside joke feel to everything. You know, I kind of like it.
As a security ally of Israel. And we know this because the State Department did the same thing in 2020. As part of the deal for Morocco to recognize Israel, the United States and Israel recognized Morocco and its claim over Western Sahara, another disputed territory in Northern Africa. And so the U.S. and Israel effectively gave Morocco disputed Spanish territory in 2020. This was Morocco's reward for recognizing Israel. Now the Republicans are back in power 6 years later, and they say the same thing. Go ahead, Morocco, take Spain's 2 remaining cities in Northern Africa. This is your reward for being loyal to Israel. This is Spain's punishment for being disloyal. It's also worth noting, As Netanyahu carries out the ethnic cleansing in Gaza, one of the big questions hanging over the security situation there is, what do we do with all the Palestinians in Gaza? Where are we going to put them? You got 1.5, 2 million people that are clearly miserable and hate Israel and militating against them. What are we going to do with them? Where are we going to put them? Do we push them into the Sinai Peninsula? Egypt will not allow that. Egypt is putting their military on the border to prevent them from going there. Where else can we send them? Well, one of the countries that was under consideration was Morocco. The Trump administration said, maybe we will have Morocco take the displaced Palestinians, and in exchange, we'll give Morocco more territory. In exchange, we'll do things for Morocco. Maybe this is part of that deal. Whether it is or it isn't, it shows this is the kind of mindset behind the policy making and decision making in Washington and Israel.
True. And I wanted to say something earlier, and I said, oh, I was going to bring it up later, and I forgot. And that is the port situation for Israel. Here, right here. Check out this. So this woman, I'm not a
Shit
big,
just got really in.
I don't know about you guys, but I hate listening to women. I mean, I can listen to my wife and stuff, but like when it comes to like educational videos, I don't know if it's the tonation, if it's the cadence. I find it annoying.
Interesting with the situation with Morocco.
But I wanted to highlight, if you go here and find the ports, yes. So Israel has 6 ports. Let me see. Here we go. So 6 ports. You can see 5 of them are in the Mediterranean. 1 is in the Red Sea. Now, regarding the latest with the Iran war, Yemen has basically taken shots at Saudi Arabia and is controlling the Al-Mindeb Strait here. And so Saudi is not able to get through along with Israel. So Israel's port here to the Red Sea is essentially effectively blocked. They can't get out to the Indian Ocean. We all know that the Hormuz Strait over here is controlled and occupied by Iran. Now, how do you get into the Mediterranean? You get into the Mediterranean right through here between Spain and Morocco. Now, because Spain controls Ceuta and Melilla, they are basically the controllers of the entrance port or entranceway to the Mediterranean. Now, Israel, not only, as we just heard with Nick Fuentes talk about conceding the territory, a sort of U.S.-Israeli deal with Morocco and giving them more territory, potentially speculated, maybe it's that the Gazans are going to be relocated there. We don't know. But also, if that territory was taken, that would free up easier access into the Mediterranean because Spain wouldn't control the whole entranceway. You see what I'm putting down here? Do you pick up what I'm putting down?
Going through the Bab el-Mandeb. Prior to the Iran war, Israel was also receiving imports for natural resources like oil and gas through the Straits of Hormuz, going through the Red Sea. So 6 days after the US and Israel launched a war against Iran, Iran banned all ships bound to Israel and the US coming out of the Straits of Hormuz. On June 8th, the Houthis of Yemen joined the blockade and banned all ships going to and from Israel that transit through the Red Sea and the Bab el-Mandeb, similar to what happened in 2024 and earlier in 2025. So now Israel is limited to only one maritime access route through the Mediterranean. But there is a risk involved because similar to the Bab el-Mandeb, that is a choke point for the Red Sea, and the Straits of Hormuz, which is a choke point out of the Persian Gulf, the Mediterranean has a choke point, which is the Straits of Gibraltar, which is controlled by Spain. Spain is a problem for Israel because they have taken steps to break diplomatic ties with Israel. Even more important is that they have also restricted arms shipments to Israel because of the Gaza genocide. Spain barred U.S. military vessels and aircraft carrying weapons or munitions destined for Israel from utilizing Spanish military facilities like Naval Station Rota and Marón Air Base. Spain also restricted its airspace and denied use of joint bases Rota and Marón for U.S. military assets linked to operations and strikes against Iran. So where are Rota and Marón located? Right on the Straits of Gibraltar. So if you're Israel and you need to regain control of this access point, what do? You look for allies who are willing to support your genocide and your war in Iran, like your Abraham Accords partner, Morocco. Then you get your allies in the US government to push to have Ceuta and Melilla, Spanish Moroccan territories, redesignated as Moroccan territory so that you can have greater control over the Straits of Gibraltar. You even get members of Congress to allocate funding for this endeavor. But because you need public support from Europeans and Americans, you orchestrate a fake migrant invasion into Ceuta. And then you claim that these migrants are reaching Europe and this is a public crisis. Except the narrative quickly fell apart as footage showed Moroccan police, allowing the migrants in, and in some cases, inviting them to cross the border. Reporting showed that these young boys under the age of 20 were encouraged on social media to go to Ceuta. In some cases, they were told that the Spanish government wants them to come. Then precisely 24 hours later, the White House releases a statement. The United States has been clear. We recognize Moroccan sovereignty over Western Sahara, and we support Morocco's serious, credible, and realistic autonomy proposal as the only basis for a just and lasting solution. Any other path prolongs the status quo and is unacceptable. The now and the Western Sahara have to do with the Straits of Gibraltar. Well, it extends Moroccan territory. It literally makes Moroccan territory from the Straits of Gibraltar all the way down further south, securing maritime access through that whole region under Morocco, a U.S. ally and an Israel ally, Abraham Accords member, and a country who has a military security agreement with Israel. So the moral of the story, boys and girls, is that another weekend passed by and we saw another escapade where young boys lost their lives. 57 were reported to have drowned, trying to swim to Ceuta. And the U.S. military also reported that we don't have enough destroyers to protect Israel.
That is actually wrong. It's not that we don't have enough destroyers. What she's trying to talk about is the recent Pentagon report, which actually was shockwaves. And it had to do with the fact that we don't have enough ammunition. We have plenty of destroyers. It's that we're running out of THAAD, Patriot missiles, our whole armory. You know, we've been moving around our ammunitions from the Pacific theater into the Middle East for this war with Iran, and we don't produce them at the same rate in which we've been using them. And apparently, from what I was listening to some analysts, Trump, I don't know if they're keeping him like totally in a dark room, like disconnected with what's going on, but apparently he had no idea the severity of our ammunition depletion. And he was talking about over the weekend. I don't know if you guys saw, but yesterday was supposed to be the biggest strike in the war since it started. And it was going to rival what we did in World War II. Well, it didn't happen. It was just, and Trump really is the boy who's cried wolf one too many times. Every weekend, it's something that the U.S. is going to do. Okay, nope. The Iranians want to make a deal. Actually, it's not the case. It's the U.S. is not in a position of power right now. Trump wants out. Trump threatened Iran. When Trump went to go move on that threat, the Pentagon told him, we don't have enough ammunition to protect Israel. If we keep using our ammunition, if there is an attempt to bombard Israel, we won't even have enough for our homeland. That is a dire situation. And so that came out just before the weekend last week. That was the Washington Post. U.S. General warns Pentagon lacks sufficient forces to protect Israel. So anyways, that is the situation that we're finding ourselves right now. Not ideal. And I don't know if you guys saw when Netanyahu came for the Lindsey Graham funeral. Did you see the potential conflict? It seemed like some fierce words between him and Hegseth and Marco Rubio. Oh, something for Spain to be proud about. Spain makes history as the first European country to elect a woman with Down syndrome to its regional parliament. Oh, gosh. I wanted to say this regarding Anthony Fauci. You guys know who what is the guy's name? Levin something. What is the guy who runs TMZ? Harvey Levin. Harvey Levin. Look at his reaction to what people said about Dr. Anthony Fauci.
All right, so is this ready to pull? 80s. I had many friends who died of AIDS, a horrible, painful death. And I had friends who lived because of Anthony Fauci, because he was willing to look at experimental drugs in a different way than they had looked at them before. And that really resulted in lives saved. And he has done so many other things in his career to thwart epidemics, to save lives, not just in the United States, but all over the world. He has been a dedicated public servant who could have made a lot more money outside of government than inside, but he stayed.
Oh, he was just so upset. Here's Cleve, everyone's favorite autist looks maxer, trying to look cool at a club. This is so cringe. Look at him. Oh. I can't believe that guy posts that thinking he looks cool. What? So this was apparently, give you a little bit of context. So Netanyahu came for a meeting with Trump. Remember, it was the same day that Zelensky came to meet with Trump. It was the first time Netanyahu had come to the United States since this Trump term, and there was no U.S. official to meet him at the airport. So there's that. Okay, maybe it's nothing. Maybe the Trump administration is busy. Netanyahu then comes to the White House. The White House makes no announcement about the meeting, which is very unusual. Usually they always announce these. Trump gets on Truth Social. Oh, I just had a great meeting with so-and-so. Makes no comment. Netanyahu then comes out of the meeting and says, I've just had the best meeting I've ever had with Donald Trump. However, it seemed that Netanyahu is very irritated. This is at the Lindsey Graham funeral. And you see him talking to, this is Pete Hegseth, and that's Marco Rubio. So nobody knows exactly what they're saying, but there was suspicion that Netanyahu was trying to make a case on what exactly they are supposed to be doing and his disgruntledness. Well, Netanyahu was absolutely pissed that the bombing did not occur yesterday. So that's what everything that I've been hearing. So the rest of that stuff, just to catch up, Erdogan bashed Israel's government, blaming its actions for deepening regional instability. We highlighted a lot of this stuff in the last one. Erdogan isn't having any BS over Cyprus, which again, Cyprus is Orthodox, and Turkey has occupied northern Cyprus. So we're no fan of Turkey, as they like to be referred to now. But anyways, no, that was not the AI video. No, the AI video, he puts his finger in their chest and stuff like that. I can try to find that one. No, there is an AI. Let me do Netanyahu Hegseth Rubio. There was one that was here it is right here. This was the
Need more caskets draped with American flags. And this isn't a request, it's a command. You understand? Oh, and my nuts need a proper licking. Marco, you take the left. Pete, you take the right. Meet me in the restroom.
Now that was AI. that might have been AI. I can't confirm, but I think that one was AI. So smash that like, guys. Thank you all so much for being here. This seems real though. This seems real enough. Yeah, exactly. It's pretty much our foreign policy, but at least Grok told me it was AI. I think it was AI. I'm not sure. Yeah, definitely not AI. God bless you, brother. God bless you. Thanks for being here. Are you sure that was fake? You know what? Now that you say that, I'm actually not sure. I'm questioning myself right now. Who knows? Who knows? So anyways, guys, we had a fun stream tonight. Great live, says Jimbo Playset. Well, thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Again, we always have a fun time when we get together. I'm going to be doing a stream Wednesday night on the gates of Toledo. Gosh, what is wrong with my eye? It's killing me. I got to take my contacts out. And so we're going to be providing a little bit of a deeper perspective on everything that's going on with Morocco, Spain, but we'll be diving in historically. We'll be looking at the Umayyad Empire, how the Caliphate took over North Africa, the Visigoths, why the Jewish community on the Visigoths hated them. We'll be then looking at Roderick and his failure in defending against Tariq, the Umayyad military leader who comes into Spain and wins at the Battle of Guadalete. That's in 711. And marches straight from there to Toledo, where the famous Gates of Toledo narrative. And we're going to look into it because where does the Gates of Toledo narrative come from? It's actually Christian sources. It's actually Christian source, but we're going to dive into that. I need to finish all that research for that stream, but that's going to be Wednesday. And yeah, I'm going to hit up Jose. Maybe we'll do an open panel, like a debate panel this week. And I'd like to do a stream on there. I'd like to do 3 streams. I'd like to do one talking about like Orthodox theology or Logos theology and building a business, making money as a man in the world. One on relationships and maybe one on aesthetics or something like that. So I got a bunch of cool content. Yeah, Lockstep. Thank you, brother. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who supports the stream. Like genuinely, like no sarcasm. Genuinely, I love you guys. And I thank you guys so much that you come and you participate and you support my work. And my goal is that you always leave with something that you didn't have when you came. Information, laughter, fun, lightheartedness, whatever it may be, but mostly information, mostly useful information. Ed Poe, 1108, throws in 5, says, my favorite of the online orthos. You're a good man, DPH. Well, Ed Poe, thank you very much, brother. I appreciate that. I genuinely appreciate that, my man. I genuinely appreciate that. So thank you guys all so much. Really, really appreciate you guys. And like I said, Wednesday night, I'm going to be back with a stream on the gates of Toledo. Although, because that is a very controversial topic, go do this. Go on YouTube and search Gates of Toledo. You tell me how many videos you find talking about the theory. Not very many. Not very many, which is always a cue to me before I do a stream on a topic to realize, oh, I probably need to watch out for that one. So I'm not titling the stream The Gates of Toledo. I'm titling the stream How the Muslims Took Over Spain, how the Muslim conquest of Spain occurred, or something to that effect. And then we'll have a section in there where we'll really break down the Gates of Toledo, because I was looking up all the primary sources. Like the earliest sources are actually the Muslim sources. Then you have medieval Jewish and Christian sources that talk about the Gates of Toledo and stuff like that. So we'll talk. So that stream, and if anybody's wanting, because I don't want to put too much in one stream, especially historical streams. There's so much to grok to really appreciate it. Is maybe there'll be a good one in the future if someone wants to sponsor a stream on the Reconquista. Because Bryce sponsored the stream on the Gates of Toledo, which that's going to be how the Muslims came into Spain. Maybe someone could sponsor a stream on the Reconquista, and then we can talk about how they took Spain back. So anyways, if anybody is interested in sponsoring a stream, you can do so with this link right here. Tomorrow night, we have a Men's Logos Academy meeting. We'll be doing an accountability group on fitness, diet, spiritual life, career, or however you make money, or life goals, whatever it may be. That's at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If anybody would like to join, you can do so with this link right here, and you can join the Logos Academy. We would love to have you. Also, if you have not gotten the best Christian deconstruction, breakdown, refutation, dissertation, manuscript, book ever written about transhumanism and orthodoxy as they meet towards the end of historical time, do get my book, Return to Babylon from Adam to Antichrist. I'll be sending out copies tomorrow. And if anybody is interested in setting up a consultation session where we get into a Zoom meeting and talk about whatever your heart desires, you can do so with that link right there. I'm hoping to have a new store with some t-shirts up here soon. Give me a few more days or a week. And yeah, I got a bunch of new stuff. I'm going to start using my Substack. So I'm starting to think about how I can take these long form streams, not these streams, not the Logos news streams, but more topic themed streams, and turn those into articles that kind of synthesize the main points into a compressed, distilled article over on Substack. I'll be posting my study guides over on Substack for people who are interested. So if you don't follow me on Substack, go. I'm going to start posting content. If you don't follow my X account, like everything that we talked about today, I'm posting stuff on my new X account. Go follow me on X. It's at Dr. DP Harry, and on Substack, it's just Dr. DPH. Dr. DPH was taken on all of them. So I'm Dr. DP Harry, DPH being capitalized. I hate that. Anyways, all right, guys, love you all so much. Let me just make sure I don't miss anyone. That always grinds my gears when someone is generous enough to support my work and send in a super chat, and I miss it. So let me just make sure I don't miss anyone. We got Ben Shapiro's eyebrows, my brother Matt Scoggins, and looks like we got that. Yep. All right. God bless you all. Yes, Dr. Bingo, Dr. DPH, PhD. I thought about making that my handle, but then I thought, it's a little bit too on the nose. You know what I mean? Doctor and PhD. It sounds too pretentious. So we just went with Dr. DP Harry. But All right, guys. I'll see you all Wednesday. And if not, join the Logos Academy, and I'll see you tomorrow night because we'll be chatting for probably 2 to 3 hours. So, my brother Andrew. Hey, this is my friend. This is one of my brothers, fellow parishioner at St. Mary of Egypt. God bless you and Adam. Hope you guys are doing well. Love you guys. Andrew and Adam are my friends, fellow brothers in Christ, parishioners. Go St. Mary of Egypt. Go St. Mary of Egypt. All right, guys. Remember, we love Israel. We love Israel, YouTube. Never, never hurt us, YouTube. All right. I'll catch you guys in the next one. As always, until then, God bless.